The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 98. You can also contact us with questions or comments on Twitter, at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. Well, 2 shows in a row. I've got my normal collection of hosts with me. We've got Proulx. How are you doing tonight, Proulx?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Delightful. I'm doing great. And Randy's here. How are you doing, Randy?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we're recording on a different night. So I had told you earlier I got killer heartburn tonight because I ate like fistfuls of candy and brownies and just all sorts of delicious baked goods. I'm like, I took my Zantac. I think I'll be okay, but like I feel like I'm just gonna puke all over this microphone. Both not in the literal sense, right? In the figurative sense, I puke on the microphone all the time with my just incessant drowning of words. But
with your monologues,
right? So why don't we get started? We can talk about some of the things we've been up to in the world of gaming. I'm gonna start with Proulx this week. What's your win of the week? What have you been up to?
So depending on how you want to gauge this, I have 2 to 3 wins of the week, and I couldn't pare it down. So okay. I'm going to say it's 2.5 wins of the week. So I'll go through them pretty quickly here. In anticipation of the Xbox One X coming out, next week. Next week. I purchased my brand new shiny 65-inch 4K TV, which is very pretty and very nice, and I'm very, very I'm already... So what's cool is it recognized it immediately. My Xbox did, and said, hey, we see you're kind of doing the 4K thing now. Do you want to up-res everything? And I'm like, yeah. I paid that money for a reason. So I'm very excited for the Xbox One X launch. And, of course, getting a new TV is very exciting. I bought my old one, I don't know, 5 years ago or something. So
right.
That's pretty exciting.
That is exciting. So what'd you do with your old TV? Doubling up?
No. Well, here's the thing. It's super convenient because Proulx's TV is right next to my TV anyways. So I often kind of do a dual thing where I'm playing my Xbox 360 and my One at the same time. So I don't need to have two TVs. So I'm just going to get rid of that old one and just make way for the new one. So.
Nice.
Also tonight, I was playing some games and hit my yearly goal that I wanted to hit by the end of the year. Obviously a little early, but I hit 250,000 Gamerscore. That was where I set myself. And now that I'm done with that, I set my next Gamerscore goal, which was 350 by the end of next year. Hopefully I'll hit that. So, and then of course, real quickly, just less than a half an hour ago, we had kind of an impromptu Plants vs. Zombies session, and we were going for like one of the harder achievements in the game. A couple of the community members, and it was Fug and B. Smittle and Mango. Mango only had one achievement left, which was playing this. I didn't remember the mode name, but on crazy difficulty, whatever the mode is, and we beat it in one go. Toughest achievement, we just crushed it.
Nice.
And super easy. So that was a lot of fun, and now it's just cleanup, I guess, for Plants vs. Zombies for me.
It's called Garden Ops.
Garden Ops, thank you. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
There you go. That's it, huh? What about that?
Well, lots of wins, yeah. So I had a good week. I can't complain.
What do you think, Randy? Do you have a... Can you pick one? What do you think we should pick for Randy or for Proulx's win of the week? I kind of like that TV, man.
I would say the Gamerscore, just because it's kind of more like
because it's the show
achievement-y. Yeah.
But toys, man, toys. Well,
the TV
maybe
is very nice. I'm
maybe
very
you can
excited.
show him up here, Randy. Why don't you tell us what your winning
I don't know
was?
about that. Well, I guess I haven't talked about my Gamerscore challenge yet. So my that'll be my win of the week, I guess. My final total, I was actually just looking at it, was over 40,000. So I was very, very happy about that because that was kind of my goal last week. It was 40,595 Gamerscore between September 27th and October 22nd. And I believe it was 37 games that I started and completed.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So that's the most points I've ever put up in less than a month, and the most games I've completed in less than a month.
What did that
tops
do?
My binge last year.
What did that do for your completion percentage?
I dropped it actually because of The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead dropped your completion percentage?
So I only finished the first 2 episodes, and I started 3 versions of it, which added about 150 achievements to my tag.
Ah, okay.
So when are you going to go and clean that up? Now?
Probably tomorrow.
It's probably just eating you up inside, isn't it?
Kind of. I mean, not really, because I know it's easy. I'm just going through and doing cleanup now. The only game that's not going to be cleaned up is Canadian football, because I need it is a waste of my time to try and do that myself. I need a helper for Canadian football. So,
but wait a minute, aren't you Canadian?
I am.
So it seems to me that it's in your blood, right? It's just running through your veins.
Well, that's like a real Canadian football, which is actually hockey. Hockey I can do, kind of. I can get by on the hockey games, not football. I feel like hockey translates better to video games. There's like, you don't have to pick plays and stuff. You just kind of go and like tackle people and stuff.
Pretty much.
And it's constant too. That's the thing about football, is that it's just, you're constantly stopping. So it's really it's
and there are less people to manage. Like, you don't have like football where you've got like 12 on 12 or something. You've only got
11.
Football's 11?
11.
What's hockey? How many is hockey?
5. I mean 6 if you count the goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little more manageable too. But yeah, that's the only one. But on top of that, I finished Doom today. I finished, I guess that's, and Halo Spartan Assault on 360. So I'll be ahead for completed games when I'm done. But now it took my ratio took a real dive on that.
With all the easy stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I think I dropped 0.2 on my ratio. I think I started at 0.15. I think I was 1.12-ish, and now I'm 1.96. So that needs a little bit of work. That's the first time my ratio has been under 2 for quite some time. But that's fine. My normal play, my ratio is over 2. So if I stop playing easy stuff all the time, then it should be fine. But that's a big Gamerscore gain, and almost all of it, the ratio is about 1.1 or maybe 1.2. So it was some pretty easy stuff.
Yeah, that's nuts. So nice work. Yeah. Nice work.
And so Xbox Canada hasn't announced the winners yet, but so far I haven't found anybody that I don't know of that's ahead of me. So I could still be in the running for 5th.
I was going to say for 5th, yeah, because I thought the community kind of went through a line of people who...
Yeah, there are at least 4 people in front of me.
Yeah.
But so far I have not found a 5th, so maybe.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck on that. That's pretty sweet. I'm not even sure I have a win of the week here, to be honest. I kind of just played a bunch of random stuff, so maybe I'll just kind of go into that in general. So I've been playing a lot of that Plague Inc. Like I mentioned last show, it keeps showing up on my UHH or random to-do list or whatever, just because there's so many achievements in there. And so I'm going through unlocking all of the different disease types. And so I finished the parasite, finished the prion, and then I opened up the necroa virus, which is that zombie one. And the mechanics of that one, because the other ones are that you kind of just sit back and let you set up the trees so that they can infect other people, and then they just propagate, and you do just kind of a little bit of managing really. But with the zombie one, that adds a whole new mechanic to it, where not only do you infect people, and usually they don't die from it right away, but then when you're ready and you trigger the death mechanic, they come back as reanimated corpses, and then you have more direct control over where the zombies go. So you can set hordes and pick a country. It's like the game of Risk, where you take and you go against the borders, and you're take these zombies and go against that country, and you just send hundreds of thousands of zombies flooding over the border and hope that they can't repel it, and then eventually they'll take down humanity. And I can't even get close to finishing this. Now, granted, I am doing it on mega brutal difficulty, so that's much more difficult, obviously. But man, yeah, that's really hard. I did manage to get my UHH, or was it a random to-do list on that one? Anyway, I managed to get one of the achievements off of that I needed to do. Oh, UHH. So that was fun. I mean, at least I got that, but... Man, yeah, that game is tough. So keeping with the zombie theme, I also played a bunch of State of Decay on the 360, and man, I love that game, and I've mentioned that multiple times. Now, I will say on the 360, it looks like a hot mess. It is just nasty. The graphics, the textures, because it's just trying to do so much on the 360 hardware that it really struggles. It really struggles. But I went pretty deep into that one. I had a UHH achievement for destroying 10 hordes in a day, which is pretty easy if you use a car, but ultimately you have to make sure you sideswipe them and use your door instead of smashing into them head on, just because if your car takes too much damage, it blows up. But your door can, for some reason, take out a lot more zombies than your car. And so you get to go a little bit longer, but I wasn't even really trying. It's like anytime I saw a horde, I would take it all out. And the one thing you have to keep in mind is in the upper right corner, if you're doing this, it says horde alerted, and it'll be a collection of zombies. You don't have to kill all of them, but you have to kill enough of them so that the upper corner says zombie horde killed. That's what triggers the tick over. And getting 10 in a day isn't too hard. But again, I did mine without even really paying attention, so that worked out pretty nice. So that was my UHH one. But then I was trying to do my random to-do list one, which requires me to up and move my location. And since I'm doing this in the campaign mode, you have to satisfy a bunch of events before you can get there, and I kept trying, and I just couldn't get to that point. I feel like I'm close to where it's hey, we should move bases, and I have the resources to move, but I haven't had the call on my little walkie-talkie to do it yet, so kind of bummed about that. One other zombie thing I've been up to is iZombie. Maybe this will be my win of the week. It was one of the UHH matchups with Angel SK and I used it because it has the eye, right? So for Mighty Mango for the gamer tag, it was my last one of my last letters I needed to do, and it was for beating all of the winter levels, and just get quick completing through that. And I know Proulx, you're on when I was trying to do that and getting real frustrated because it was holding me up from playing some Rocket League. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was getting frustrated with that. But I ended up doing it. Now, as far as the UHH goes, I'm getting killed. I think Angel has 11 to my 2 right now. I couldn't be bothered right now with just kind of wrapping up the month and all the other things that we have going on in the world that I've had a hard time focusing. And primarily because I have so many Telltale games on there. And it's I don't really want to just start them and just let them hanging there. I don't really have the time to do that. So I've kind of thrown in the towel prematurely on that one. So you'll see, obviously, when this comes out, I will have lost this round. There's just no way I'm going to be able to catch up on that one. But I have been playing a ton of Rocket League, so much so that I got 2 achievements, actually. I think I only have 3 left. But I ended up getting the 30 goals and assists in competitive online, right? That's pretty easy. I was pretty close as we were going through it. I also, today, my son wanted to be playing, and so he really likes Rumble mode. And so anytime I play Rumble mode with him, I'm really cognizant of trying to use that freeze ball to try and... But I just have such heavy thumbs that I always end up like I said, I got the freeze ball. Okay, and I just got to wait on it. But as I'm like steering, I end up pushing the button and using it prematurely, and I'm like, oh, are you freaking kidding me? Like, just dumb. So I woke up this morning, and my son's like, hey, Dad, I got you an achievement. I'm like, oh, yeah, in what? He's like, in Rocket League. I'm like, in Rocket League? I'm trying to think of the achievements I have left. I'm like, you definitely didn't score 280 goals, so what did you do? And he's like, yeah, there's a guy, he was driving with the spiky car, where you hit the ball and the spike and it sticks to you. And he was driving into the goal, and so I hit him with the freeze ball on his way in there, and that counted. I'm like, all right, that is fantastic. So, and then he also got me another achievement today for in Minecraft. He and his buddy came over to play Minecraft. I wanted to play battle mode, and so I saw him. He signs in with his gamer tag now. Like, he wants to be earning achievements on his, which kind of sucks because he keeps forgetting to use mine. But he was messing around in the lava. Like, he had a fire resistance potion, drank it, and was just swimming in the lava in battle mode.
Oh, yeah.
And the achievement popped, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't know this worked in battle mode. And so, like, I'm like, don't kill me, guys. I gotta go find a potion. So I went and did that. That was great. So he showed me the way on that one. And then Plants vs. Zombies on the 360 was the other big thing we played this week. It was what were we doing? Gardens and Graveyards a little bit. So we did kind of a bunch as a group. Pretty much everybody got their teleporters built and destroyed, turrets built and destroyed. The plants, almost everybody got their perfect wins. We just kind of got a lot of that out of the way. So good progress for everybody on Plants vs. Zombies for the 360. And so that kind of wraps up my gaming for the week. Proulx, did you have anything else you wanted to add for things you've been up to?
Nothing too crazy. I've just been really kind of focusing on. I kind of abandoned the UHH this week. Honestly, I'm like literally sitting at 0 versus my opponent right now, and I think I'll probably try to get 1 or 2 tomorrow just to get the free win if I can. But I've really shifted focus back to random to-do list.
Yeah, it was only a couple days. Well, by the time this comes out, we'll have new random to-do lists up.
Yes, that's true. I'm very excited about that. So I've been grinding out like random stuff. I've been really pushing on Street Fighter 4, which is awful. I had to play 275 songs in Def Jam Rap Star. I've actually gotten a lot of my harder achievements on my random to-do list.
Just the gross ones out of the way? That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's okay. Like I said, I have my 360 set up so I can get a lot of these grindy stuff while I'm actually making progress in more
fun
important
things
and enjoyable things. Yeah. So, other than random to do stuff, just random stuff, I've been really pushing real hard on the Telltale stuff, and I've like today I started and completed Michonne on 360. I completed Tales from the Borderlands on 360. So I'm just basically trying to get all these stacks done. I want to get very quickly caught up, quote unquote, as much as I can. So I'm getting there. Tomorrow I will start Wolf Among Us on 360. That's a stack I haven't done yet. Then I only have Batman on the 360. And then there's the new stuff, which I haven't started on any platform yet. But I will wait until the whole episode is out so I can get the disc before I work on that sort of stuff. So, and then I've been playing Candleman tonight, but that's for Reviews Ed, which you will hear later.
Yes, you absolutely will. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that down the road. But I want to hear what Randy's been up to. Now that you're done, you're on the letdown of your Gamerscore, bonanza. What have you been up to?
I mentioned some of it. I played a lot of Doom today.
Oh, yeah?
I just had a couple multiplayer achievements left, and I've just been playing. It turns out I'm pretty good at that game. I've been coming first and second almost all my matches. I was pretty happy about that.
Is this like the new Doom?
Yeah, new Doom.
Okay.
Doom 16. So I finished that up today. I got many, many levels in multiplayer today. That's done and uninstalled again and freed up all of my hard drive because it's a gigantic game.
You could just get another hard drive.
No. It costs money. I finished ACA Neo Geo Sengoku, which is a terrible game. it's much better when you play with 99 lives and unlimited credits, but still not super great. The Ninja Turtles do make a cameo, though.
Oh, yeah?
I'll post that in the show notes.
It's not really the Ninja Turtles.
It's
an homage
Turtles.
to the Ninja Turtles, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really think it is. I think they just happen to be in a sewer, but...
Yeah.
I mean, the turtles do appear in the sky as well.
Was that like the Ninja Turtles in Goat Simulator, where they're in the sewers and there's like 3 dudes in the green jumpsuits or whatever?
I didn't play that.
I didn't
know
about that.
You'll see. It'll be in the show notes. You can look at the screenshot. I finished Numa Breath of Life, which was an interesting game. I've never played a game like that where what you see has a direct impact on what happens.
Right.
So that one was kind of cool. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Interesting.
And I think I finished Neuro, which of course worked the first time on the Thursday after my binge, which is very annoying. And I think the best thing I completed this week, I just finished this only less than an hour ago, was Neo Geo Fatal Fury Special, which got the notorious half a star. Actually, I gave 2 games half a star today. Fatal Fury Special and What in the World on Windows Phone, which is also... What in the World, the game itself isn't that bad, but it is such a buggy mess that it's...
Wait, isn't that the that trivia game?
It's sort of. It's like it's where there's a picture and you have to type what it is.
Yeah, I think I played that. I don't remember having any issues.
It crashes like every 6 cards.
Let me see.
Always, always crashes constantly. It has a pop up that comes up all the time that just says "out of memory" line 1.
Yeah, I beat that game. I never had any issue. I don't remember. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't remember having any issues with that game. But
I mean, you can still beat it. Like, there's not a problem with being able to beat it. It just takes twice as long as it should because it crashes every 6 cards. You have to load up the game again.
That's annoying.
So yeah, that got half a star. And I mean, the game, it's not a very good game either, but just the fact that it's a mess is stupid.
Right.
But Fatal Fury Special has a special kind of cheating AI that in fighting games, the only other fighting game I've seen this in, and it probably is in more at higher difficulties, or is in Mortal Kombat 2 on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah,
but
where
the
they
AI
know what you're doing.
The AI knows all of your button presses, even if they don't execute moves, and they know them before they're executed in game, so they can react to the presses, not the actions. So the computer knows what you're going to do before it even happens.
Yeah,
they know as soon as you type, like you press the button, that's what's happening, and as a result, they can counter every move extremely easily. So this was a very, very, very difficult completion because of that. Because on top of that, the high score requirement is also abnormally high for the Neo Geo games in terms of how far you have to get a score that high. So the TA completion estimate is 1 to 2 hours.
Not the case?
That is absolutely not at all. I put it at 8 to 10. I spent at least 8 hours on it.
Yikes.
Getting to that point. There's no guides, so there's not really any help. But you have to get really good at it. So, doing it again, and it's not even just getting good at it, it's getting good at it and then getting a lucky run where the computer kind of lets you get it into a kind of a stun lock kind of thing where you can just keep chaining moves together and basically kill off the computer all in one go.
Can you? So, I mean, something tells me this game is relatively old. You can't really get them into like an aerial juggle long enough for this to work.
No, there's no juggles. I mean, some people have like aerial grabs.
Okay,
but that they don't help you. the computer is so good at countering you in the air that you just try and stay on the ground pretty much the whole time.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
That
tough.
sounds annoying.
It's like, and that, so it's one thing to have a computer like that in the hardest setting because, nowhere is going to turn it up to the hardest setting. But this is on default settings. It's this impossible.
Jeez.
Like, it's not fun.
It reminds me of like a Call of Duty on like those old Call of Duties on Veteran where it's like
exactly.
It's like I'm hiding in perfect cover. It's like 6 grenade indicators come there.
600 grenades all just thrown at the wall. Yeah, it's exactly that same kind of thing where it's just instead of getting good at the game like you would in a normal fighting game, you just have to learn how to out cheese the computer.
Yep.
And that's how you win, which is frustrating and not very fun. So I would not recommend this game to anyone, even if you're good at fighting games, because that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good you are.
Maybe that's like the birth of
computer still knows how to
speedrunners.
win.
It's like they just try to find ways to break the game so that you can actually, get through it. It's
Yeah.
like, man, this is annoying.
Well, and it's interesting too because I was just looking up general kind of hints and tips for this game online, and I came across a forum post from 2001 because obviously this is the same as the arcade version because these are all just straight arcade ports.
Yeah.
But there was some discussion about some people that were this was like a fighting game forum, so you have people here that are very good at fighting games and basically just play fighting games, talking about how broken the AI in this game is. And explaining how they managed to beat the game on the hardest difficulty. Not in one go, but just like being able to beat the final boss once. And I guess how they did it was you had to have a super complicated pattern of jumps that would confuse the computer, then you could get a hit in. But pretty much saying like it's the same thing. It doesn't matter how good you are at fighting games. You just have to know how to out-cheese the computer because the computer knows what you're going to do and can react to it instantly.
Nice.
So, yeah, very poorly designed game in that regard.
Got to rope-a-dope
Don't
'em.
buy it.
No thanks.
Don't buy it. Do not play it.
Well, that does sound annoying.
And, and then What in the World, of course, is bad. And I think that's everything that I played this week. I guess there were a few that I didn't cover last week. I finished War Planet. I think I had that done last week.
Yeah.
I did The Walking Dead Michonne on Windows 10 and Xbox 360, which of course now goes on sale on Xbox 360 this week.
I was very excited about that actually because
For like 60% off or something.
Oh my goodness.
It's not even like a little sale. It's like a big sale. I just bought it at full price.
yeah, I was
annoyed by
I was
that.
actually getting ready to get my next Telltale game, and I'm like, I got to do Michonne on 360. I'm like, okay, I'll just get it, and whatever, no big deal. I'll just pay the $20, whatever they charge for it. I think all told, I paid $7. I think for it, $7 or $8, something like that.
It's probably even less because I think the base game in the season pass is $13. I think it's 60% off.
And then I did also bought like you were mentioning earlier, Fream, that zombie game on the 360, which was also for sale.
State of Decay.
State of Decay and the 2 DLCs were like $1.47 each. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just pick this up and if I ever want to play it. So, anyways,
yeah, I finished those. That one was much more doable on doing 2 at once because I played the Windows 10 and 360 version at the same time, which worked out to be quite quick because there's one of the episodes I think you go half an hour without inputting anything. It just goes. It's
already about 50% of a regular Telltale game.
Yeah,
in terms of length. So
yeah, it's much shorter. Yeah. Then I did ACA Neo Geo Samurai Showdown and Art of Fighting 2. Art of Fighting 2 was, I want to say, 30 minutes. It was one of the easiest ones I've done.
Ooh, really?
Samurai Showdown 2 was just under an hour. So both those very easy. Yeah, and then that is the last of what I've been playing, and that should cover everything in my binge. I also posted a list on the forum.z2z.com of all of my games that I played and my estimated completion times on them, of the ones that I finished. So if you're interested in seeing the final breakdown where all the Gamerscore came from, the time estimates, if you're looking for some easy stuff, I'll put that in the show notes.
Delightful. Yeah, that'll be helpful. Wonderful. Well, we'll get a couple of things. So before I move on, right? So it's Saturday night. They're doing a Saturday Night Live Halloween special, and preceding this Halloween special is a David S. Pumpkins animated short. What the hell is this?
What is David Pumpkin?
It's
David
a Tom Hanks
S.
character.
Pumpkins?
Yeah.
Oh.
From Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Oh, I never saw
and
that.
so I'm watching it with no sound right now, and it is just all sorts of disturbing. But now, I have to go back and, figure out what the hell this is. Anyway, sorry, you sidetracked. We've got Rocket League going on. Yeah, it's by the time this comes out, we are gearing up to get first round games in the books. So, Proulx, have you talked to Skeptical at all yet? Do we have a time that we're gonna go head to head?
There was mention of sometimes, but you know what? I think the best way for us to do it, and by the way, listeners, next week, well, maybe not next week, but soon you'll end up hearing Fream, kind of admitting that we crushed his team. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I think what we need to do actually is get all 6 of us into a group chat on Discord, and then discuss, start to talk about when is convenient for everybody, because it's tough when it's like, okay, I'll go talk to my team, you go talk to your team. If we can get everybody, and we're all already on that platform, I think that's what we'll have to do. But yeah, that'll be coming up very, very soon, I think. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
We've been practicing. So
now, have you been practicing as a team?
We've practiced once or twice so far, but only because it's the time difference can be problematic. But it's okay. But I've been playing a lot, and I know they have as well, and I'm excited about it. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm super pumped. It's going to be great. So yeah, Rocket League tournament getting started. You can keep an eye on all of our. Most of us are going to try to stream these games. So when keep an eye on Discord. We'll try and plan some things out ahead of time so you have an idea of when things are coming up. But yeah, we're super pumped about this, and yeah, I can't wait. I had a lot of fun this last week playing around, doing some practice. That game is just fantastic. So good. And then was there something else I wanted to say community-wise? Oh, yeah. We have, obviously, so by the time this comes out, this upcoming weekend will be Extra Life weekend. So the Extra Life, the traditional Extra Life day is Saturday, November 5th, I believe. And that is the because of daylight savings, that is the 25-hour window in which most people will do their festivities. So I know, like Game Informer does stuff, and there's just so many other outlets that do have a special Extra Life stream and things. And our community is no different. So if you are at all interested about any of the the community members, there is a new chat, a channel in my Discord. So if you head over to discord.me/Freamhole, FREAMWHOLE, you can find out all the different streams that are happening. And I try to pin them, so you can just click the pinned messages stream and see who's there. Like right now, it's got Shababble, Doughboy, Wheezy Fuzz are a couple that have said, yeah, I've got a planned stream, so trying to get the word out. If you have a planned stream you want us to know about, go ahead and let us know in the Extra Life post where you're going to be streaming, what what you're going to be doing. I know Doughboy, he's got a bunch of giveaways that he's planning. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I hope I have some opportunities to actually watch some of the things and partake with some of those things. It's a wonderful charity, and I know it means a lot to the kids. It means a lot to all of those involved, especially where the Children's Miracle Network has touched their lives. There's also tons of other charities, so even if you don't do this particular one, go ahead and feel free to give to your favorite organization. It's always a wonderful thing to share all the wonderful items that we have with people who don't have those. So yeah. If you're curious, Extra Life, we have a channel in Discord. You can come take a look at that. So I think we should move into some news, because there's some fun things going on, and there's actually some breaking news. We just showed up about 12 hours ago, is what according to this post here from TrueAchievements.com, and it's a new feature to the Alpha Ring members. I think the reason they got this first is because ex-Minnesotan, current Microsoft employee and former news hound, Mr. Black Magic, is the one who actually did this feature. So I think he broke it for the site forum. But if you can now take off those zero Gamerscore games from your profile, they were able to do this back on the 360. And then once we got to the one that wasn't a feature, so it looks as though they've added that back. So if you've played a game, earned no achievements, you actually can remove them from your gamer tag. Yeah, I can barely talk. Now it says hide, but so I don't know what that means. Because like when you hide downloads, right? They tend to have a tendency to show back up at times. So I'm not sure exactly what this entails, but there's a feature here on TA that you can look and watch a video of that. Do you guys have zero Gamerscore games that you want to get rid of, Randy?
I maybe have like one, but I don't care. I don't mind having 0 point games on my tag, because they're not started. There's no achievement. They're not locked in. Right. So I don't care if it's there. I typically don't look at my list of games on Xbox because it's too big.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Proulx, what about you?
Yeah, I think I kind of am in the same boat with Randy. It's not a huge deal to me. I mean, I like the fact that the option is there if something were to really, stick with me and bother me. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sure if I actually went through the list, I'd actually see, I imagine, quite a few that I'd forgotten that I played for an hour and didn't get an achievement. But no, it's not something I look at constantly or anything like that. So nice to have the option, but it's never really bothered me.
Yeah, Randy, you had something else you wanted to say?
Oh no, that was it. Just saying, yeah, I have a bunch from 360 on there, and I just generally, despite what most people probably think, that's one of the things that doesn't bug me. So.
Yeah. I wonder if, because I feel like this probably goes more toward people who, maybe use those rental services or, have a buddy maybe that comes over, brings some games. And it's like, because, typically any game that I have or I put on my card, I either own or have an intention of playing for a decent amount of time. So it's not like, oh, yeah, someone came over and put, this piece of garbage on my, buddy really wanted to play the Madden demo and or got me the full game or something. And it's like, but I don't have those types of things. I don't typically borrow games or tinker with just playing for a little bit and saying, yeah, I don't want this on my card. I tend to, it's the bed I made, so I gotta sleep in it. Now that's not the only vestige from old Xbox that we got this week. The original Xbox backwards compatibility went live early this week. So there's 13 original games that you can now play on your Xbox One. Of course, they don't have any gamer score. They don't have any achievements associated with them. But do you guys have any of these? Access to any of these? Do you still have any of the old discs?
I actually do still own my KOTOR disc. So you know what? I should put it in. I didn't even think about it, but honestly, on the list, that's probably the only thing I'm interested in playing anyways. However, no achievements, which is still a bummer, man. I really wish they would throw that in there.
Yeah. You know, it's funny.
Well, we can hope. Maybe. Well, have I told you guys on the podcast before how PlayStation does it? And I think it's very doable in terms of adding achievements. Just a matter of, will Microsoft do it? Is because I remember hearing about that and seeing like, okay, there's emulated PS2 games on PlayStation 4 with trophies. I'm thinking, well, how do they do that? If they're emulated, how do they put trophies in there? So I started digging around online, and I found some developers discussing it on a forum, and one of them wanted to make a trophy for beating the game without dying, which turned out to be very difficult because the way the trophies work is they read the saves. So like you have the save game that obviously works with an emulator just like the original save game did. And I guess in these save game files, there are values stored, like, 1,000 kills,
sure,
5,000 deaths, whatever. And I guess the emulator is able to check those values and tie them to trophies. So, you can have trophies for beating level 1, beating level 2, beating level 3, because those values are stored in there, or getting X number of kills, etc. I mean, it obviously depends on what the game was originally storing in that save file. But, I mean, obviously I'm not a developer. I don't know all the complexities of this, but it sounded like it was something pretty manageable. And it would be really cool if Microsoft did something similar with achievements.
Yes,
in those original games.
I would. That's the only thing holding me back, honestly, from playing some of these. But
I mean, don't you want to play Grab by the Ghoulies with achievements?
Well, I already have.
Again.
I was going to say so.
I like that, like, Ubisoft now, because Prince of Persia's on there, that Ubisoft is, like, promoting it, like, hey, you should go back and play Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. It's like,
and
wait,
give
what?
us $10 for it.
Yeah.
It is cool that they're all digital and for sale, though, because, it's we already saw the prices going up on some of these discs.
Oh, yeah.
Preemptively. I don't think I have any of them, but I have all my original Xbox discs. I just didn't have any of those games.
Sure.
The other thing that's really impressive, too, is, did you see the video comparing the emulator to the original?
It looks really good.
Like, I mean, obviously they still look old.
Yeah, but in terms of what they were able to do, like
what was stored on that disc that wasn't able to be displayed until now, it's like, whoa, like that's like a whole different game.
Well, I thought they did some tricks too, where they could up-res and.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more likely. It's not that hard to do when those Xbox games are outputting at such a low resolution. Really just bump that up, and a lot of that improvement is going to come from that. I don't want to say it's easy or simple, but it's it's not so crazy for them to do that. I guess I get the reason, but none of these games are Microsoft Studios or there's no Halos on here or anything like that, which I thought was kind of interesting. So obviously they have other stuff that they're selling with those properties, but I was just surprised to see that.
Yeah, I'm curious now what their cadence for coming out with new games would be, because I mean they obviously want to be adding more titles as they go. I mean, this wasn't like, hey, here's 13 and we're done. Like, I think they have every intention of adding to this pool, but at what kind of a cadence, what kind of testing do they have to go through to get this up and running? I don't know. I mean, now Phil has said they're not going to be as many, but
it's probably going to be a lot like the 360.
I would imagine.
I think a lot of it too is a matter of which ones of these can we sell digitally and still make money on, because that, at least first, because that's going to drive sales a lot, and $10 a game is a good price.
Yeah,
that's a fair price.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Let's talk about because there's a string of bad news coming up here. So let's talk about some good news, some interesting news. This I saw this on XboxAchievements.com. They apparently Microsoft is opening a new capture studio for VR games. They have a partnership with Hammerhead VR, and it's a studio called Dimension, which is essentially built for 3D video capture for VR experiences and things. It does combine some of the mixed reality team from Microsoft to obviously do some enhancements for their HoloLens work that they're doing, or maybe their VR work that they're doing that we don't know about. But this is kind of a studio that they're setting up so that you can go and do some of this 3D mocap stuff and help produce VR games. Now, I know Microsoft has a vested interest in the sense that they're connected to pretty much all of the PCs that have the VR headsets that go with them, such as the Vive and the Oculus and stuff. But there's been no talk about VR on the Xbox, which I still think is premature for them, and I'm okay with not having it on a console, at least not yet. I mean, talking last show, Proulx, you had a lot to say about just the logistics of having VR in the home, which I agree. I think it's it can be cumbersome, and if you don't have enough space, I mean, we'll talk about it in a little bit. But Kinect had that same issue of making sure you had enough space to use it, and so VR is really no different. But is there what do you guys think? Do you think Microsoft is going to be publishing or helping publish these VR titles to help broaden that piece of the category, or do you think this is just something for them to kind of play around with, and maybe it's more this Hammerhead group that wants to sell this kind of or capture these videos for their own use, and that Microsoft is just maybe more of a development partner versus a commercial enterprise? Where do you guys fall on this?
I mean, I would suspect they're probably doing something like Cuphead, where there's promotion and probably some funding there, but kind of letting whoever else work on these games.
Kind of taking a back seat and just helping
get
some of the technology and
I don't
things.
know. Maybe, though. I mean, we'll see, because I know there was some, I think Major Nelson or someone made a statement a while ago that we didn't want to talk too much about VR with the X launch because we wanted to emphasize whatever else. So maybe in the next year or so we'll see some big VR project come to light that kind of.
But I mean, hasn't that been the case?
Sets that off
for like the last 5 years. Like, haven't we been waiting for the killer VR game or app or whatever,
or just a VR game?
Yeah, basic. It's
that isn't a tech demo.
The more that we talk about this, the less interested and convinced I am that this is ever even going to be a thing. Like, even with the PlayStation VR stuff, I mean, from my limited understanding, and granted I don't know everything about it, but it's been moderately successful, but hasn't lit the world on fire or gone crazy. Oculus has been out for years now, and hasn't really been changing everything. And it seems to always be, this is coming. It's coming soon. Get ready. There's rumors of this. I don't know. It just seems to me like we keep going into these circles talking about this stuff. And I don't know. Maybe VR is not going to be a thing. Maybe it's actually never going to turn into a thing. And it's just, it's always these projects, but they never work out. I don't know. I'm just kind of getting less and less convinced that we're ever actually going to see, not ever, of course, maybe 20 years from now. It was the same thing that was 20 years ago when the Virtual Boy came out. Like, VR then was going to be a big thing.
Even before then, I mean, the original System Shock had VR support. Like, and that was what, 93-ish? 95? Came on floppy disks.
Nice.
And it supported VR. So, I think you might be right. I mean, there's definitely more buzz around it right now. But and when you said that, because I wasn't thinking, yeah, you're right. VR's been out for a long time. Imagine if the only thing on Wii for the first 5 years was Wii Sports. Yeah, because I mean that's kind of where we still are, is Wii Sports.
Yeah, no, that's true. We don't.
Which is fun, but
Developers have had
forever.
time to play with this stuff, and I'm sure there are some, and of course I'll admit it's coming from mostly ignorance because I haven't, other than tech demos, I haven't really, played with it myself. But as far as the actual success of VR, it hasn't hit that point that we expected it to. And it doesn't seem to be even tracking that way. I don't know. It seems to be less relevant now than it was 6 months ago when we were talking about it before the Xbox One X was was announced. And if Microsoft didn't put their eggs in that basket at that point, why should we expect them to do it now?
Yeah. And what I mean,
and I think you're right too about it kind of losing relevance because like now you're starting to see the headsets really kind of plummet in price.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's because production got cheaper. I think that might just be because nobody's buying them anymore because
they have high demand.
What are you playing on?
High supply, low demand.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that
or
too.
Or just trying to flood the market in hopes that now that there's a big enough market share, maybe somebody will finally develop something. But
well,
yeah,
along those lines, what do you think? I mean, what do you think has to happen for Microsoft to throw their hat in the ring? Like, at what point does it get, cross that threshold? I mean, what are we waiting for? What has to, because let's say, I mean, look at PUBG, right? I'm gonna use the example of PlayerUnknown's Battleground. The battle royale type game mode has been around for a while. And now all of a sudden it's going bonkers and everybody wants to do it. So now Fortnite is coming out with one and, everybody's following suit, hey, a Me Too kind of thing. Does Microsoft wait until something like this happens for VR? And it's like, oh yeah, you got to play, Booger Ball with the VR headset, man. It is amazing. It's the greatest game ever. Everyone needs a VR headset for this. And then Microsoft's like, oh yeah, well, we got a headset now. Or do you think that they will kind of, start to feel that it's getting there?
If you played Booger Ball, you need to play Snot Ball. That's our version.
Yeah. You heard it first here, folks. Booger Ball. That invest in whatever company is going to be making that.
Chivalry Empire. It's coming.
But it's what an interesting question, Fream, because, and Randy, you just mentioned the Wii, right? It's really it's hit or miss. It is luck based. You can't predict exactly where the market's going to go.
No.
Look at the Wii. We were just talking about it, and the Wii literally shifted the industry so hard that we came out with the Kinect and the Move and all this stuff. But there are plenty of time, and obviously Microsoft and Sony were playing catch up at that point in their own ways. And it's so hard to predict because tomorrow there may be a PlayerUnknown for VR, or there may be a Minecraft for VR, or there may be some killer, and there's no way to predict. You can either play it safe, like what Sony seems to have done, or some of these other
what Microsoft typically does,
or what Microsoft typically does.
They always lag behind in almost everything.
Or
play catch up. It's
so tough because you don't know. Maybe VR won't turn into a thing, or maybe it will turn into the biggest thing ever, like the Wii did. I don't know. I don't envy the people who have to make those decisions because you don't get a crystal ball. You don't get to see into the future and see what's going on. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So it's tough. I think they're being more reserved with the VR thing, and I don't think that's a bad idea. I think so far it's working out because, like we're just talking about, hasn't lit the world on fire yet. So maybe it's not going to be a big thing that they're going to get behind on.
And my impression of PlayStation VR is that it's super underwhelming. That they had this big push and that's cool or whatever, but pretty much since that initial bit, there has been no buzz about it or anything because basically the console just can't handle it. You can't do anything cool with it because the console just can't handle it. I mean, and I don't know if that's entirely true, but from what I've heard from people, that's kind of generally the consensus is yeah, it's cool, but can't do anything with it because the console's not powerful enough, or nobody's done anything cool with it since the first wave of the few tech demos again. And then now it's I haven't heard anything about PSVR in a year.
Right.
or more even, because I remember that was when I went to GDC, so that was over a year ago, and there was VR everywhere. It was ridiculous. Like everything was VR, and like the line to try PSVR was like
nuts.
Just insane.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, and I don't know. Like there was
even
a lot of
Sony
buzz.
isn't like. Again, I'm not super up to date, but like they don't even seem to be pushing it at this point. Like they're not putting, their exclusives on VR. Like they're not pushing everything that they want, that they can onto VR. It doesn't seem like that is where their mindset is either. What they did was, kind of half hedging their bets there, where like, yeah, we can put this in place in case
we have it,
this takes off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, we'll see what happens, but they keep telling us to wait, to hold on. The next thing is coming out. The next big thing, it'll be soon. Just wait for it. But we're still waiting for it. So
I will say though, it would be cool if Microsoft did finally step up and be a market leader in something like that, and say, hey, here's this big ambitious game that we actually follow through with, and it's not another Crackdown, which still hasn't come out.
Well, and I feel the same way. Like, yes,
Microsoft has a very hard time following through with anything.
Yeah, I mean, you can be successful in taking innovation that other people have come up with and trying to iterate on it and improve, but I feel like that's such a harder road that, I guess I don't know. I'm sure there's analytics out there, and I'm sure Microsoft, if anybody has data, I'm sure Microsoft does, about what the chances are of developing your own internal, innovation, whatever it is, and capitalizing it like the lottery versus just iterating on something that already exists and improving upon it. That's where the safe money is. But you're right. I just don't see any of the, Microsoft ever saying like, yes, we're going out there. We're going to give it a shot. Can you even think of the last thing that was innovative of theirs? I mean, I guess they did a couple of iterations with the Kinect, but even that's literally just copying the motion controls from, other avenues. I can't think of any other example of what Microsoft...
HoloLens.
Yes.
Yeah, but even that is still just a tech demo. I mean, I don't want to go...
But it is something nobody else is really doing seriously.
Yeah, I'll give them that. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not really for gaming, though. I mean, it was kind of initially presented as a Minecraft player, but I think in reality that's a productivity device. That's not a gaming device. It's for productivity.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I was going to say specifically for gaming, it's got to be Xbox Live. I mean, I know it's been a while.
Yeah,
but that was so significant in how that was handled and how it was deployed.
Well, and it was handled so well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, you could play online on PlayStation, but it was not good. Like PS2 had online, but it was like.
It was an entire ecosystem, before PlayStation, even got their feet off the ground. I mean, it was, 360 was designed around Xbox Live, and I mean, that was, as far as gaming goes, that's definitely, I think, the last time that, and by the way, that also included the whole achievement system as well. So that was the last time. Yeah,
achievements for sure, because I mean, they were the first to do that by a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
For achievements, and still, I haven't found a better system yet.
So 2005.
Way to go, Microsoft!
A lot of innovation in 2005.
Yep, perfect. We've mentioned Kinect a few times. It was announced this week that Kinect is officially dead. That they have dead in so far as they are not producing any more units. They are done with production. They will continue to support it, is what Microsoft is saying, but the Kinect is no longer being produced at all. And so if you, for whatever reason, need one, you have to get what's out there in the market right now. there's
Is that really going to be a problem?
No, likely not. There's so many refurbished ones out there, and I mean, they're just and really, what games support them, right? But so manufacturing totally done. I've actually been using my Kinect recently. I have a couple of Kinect Sports things on my UHH and Slice Zombies for Kinect. Kind of, and then my kids have been playing a lot of Kinect Party recently. It's still fun. I mean, it's a fun piece of equipment. I really wish people did more with it, or I don't know. I'm not even sure I wish that, but it was cool.
Has always been the problem for me, though, like you said earlier. Because I agree, it's super fun, but you need to have so much space. It's like, even now, I have this huge empty basement, but I need to be able to jump, and the ceiling is too low in the basement for me to be able to jump, so can't put it there. Okay, well, I could put it in the office room if I move the chairs and stuff out of there. Okay, well, now I have just enough space, and then I have to move everything in there every time I want to play it for an hour. Move everything back and unhook everything. So I've narrowed it down to there's one place in my entire house that I could set it up.
Yeah.
Maybe leave it for, semi-permanently, but it's it really hurts the experience when it's I just want to play this for an hour. It's okay, well, now I'm going to spend 30 minutes.
Right. Setting everything up.
And it's now it's not even worth it. It's whatever. I just won't play it.
For me, the best part of the Kinect has always been the voice experience. Being able to control my Xbox with my voice it's so much easier to be, especially now. We were talking in the Discord chat the other day, Randy, about you were there having all those 1,000 different games to play, right? And it's so, I have to, now it's not it's super cumbersome, but you have to go to your games and apps and find it. Maybe you have 200, 300 games installed. You could just say, hey, Xbox, open up whatever. Go to this game and go there and do this thing. Turn on, turn off. That was, to me, the best part about the Kinect.
Yeah.
All the other stuff, it was nice. You could play these different sorts of experiences. But I loved the fact that it simplified interacting with the system itself.
I always felt like mine never listened to me.
I never used it. I've still never unpacked or unwrapped my Kinect 2. It's still in the original wrap in the Xbox One box.
Yeah. Yeah, I got mine, but mine's tilted and off kilter, so I can't really use it for motion capture. I got that Fream game that I should do. That's a Kinect.
Did you say a Proulx game?
Fream, F-R-U.
Proulx?
Where you use your body to help get this little dude across the platforms to a door.
Oh yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
So that game looks super fun. It's kind of a bummer that that it's over. Now, but this does signify really the end of all of Don Metric's ideas, doesn't it? I mean, isn't this now we've kind of washed our hands of everything of the old regime? This is now Phil Spencer's ship that he's running, and I'm curious. Everything moving out now is all his idea, his plan. Do we think that he's corrected all of the the issues that we've seen, or that have been plaguing the Xbox One since launch? Not that we're back on track or anything per se, but I think at least it's in the right way. What do you think, Drew?
I think it would be hard to argue the fact that Xbox has not been improving in public perception. And probably, since the launch. I mean, obviously the launch was a disaster, and there have been a lot of changes. I mean, this decision about Kinect clearly was made years ago. It's just been official now.
Yeah, it's playing out the string.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's contracts involved and stuff that.
Yeah. I mean, they stopped supporting it years ago, so this isn't surprising or anything like that at this point. Right. We didn't not see this coming. It didn't take, a psychic to say, oh, the Kinect hasn't been supported for so long. It's not a big thing. But like you say, I think that it was when they shifted leadership, that's kind of the last vestiges of what came before. And I think, I don't think it's controversial to say, obviously it's in a better position now and is positioned to be more successful in the future as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious now what really the next steps are, especially now, with Phil moving into more of a leadership role. Now, Phil will say, he's mentioned on interviews before that he does take some of the blame for what transcript. I can't even think of the word. Happened before that, because he was on the leadership teams that were helping guide the decisions made for the Xbox launch and how they media device and connect in every box and all those things that he says I helped with those decisions, so I can't completely wash my hands of it, but in that same vein, I guess corporately, like, was there just so many people who were just dead wrong about what the gaming this gaming culture wanted, and they're just like, oh, well, that was a huge misfire. I'm glad we can fix it now, and now here's the Xbox One, here's the Xbox One X, and hopefully everything is all sunshines and rainbows. What do you think, Randy? Sunshines and rainbows?
I don't think sunshines and rainbows, but I mean, yeah, I do think people were just that wrong. I mean, it's kind of like what Sony's doing now is you're on top, you don't care, you don't listen, you just say, hey, the TV watches you. That's what we want, right? You want to be able to watch your TV through your Xbox. Because that's what everyone cares about, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that happened, and now they got a reality check. And yeah, it has been going in the right direction. It's never been a better time to have an Xbox, except for the dashboard.
Even the new dashboard? You don't like the new dashboard?
I hate the new dashboard.
Why? It's pretty snappy.
Yes, it's very snappy.
It's snappy, but it takes 18 clicks to get to anything you want.
What are you looking for?
Everything.
All I need
Everything is unnecessarily buried.
I need my games and apps and my
pins. I don't
pins.
like it. I'm also sick of them changing the dashboard every 6 months. Somebody needs to make up their mind and just be like, this is the dashboard, and we're going to stick with this general layout for the next 2 years or more.
You have a smartphone, right?
Yes.
So you're used to that. It changes.
No, I don't update it.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You don't. Because
it's
true.
Because it's an
you
option.
Should update
Actually,
it.
I have been updating it lately because it hasn't been changing drastically. Actually, my phone hasn't changed drastically at all since I got it. It's been pretty standard. But
it's a flip phone, right?
No, it's a BlackBerry.
Which is almost as irrelevant.
It's a modern BlackBerry.
Modern flip phone.
It is a BlackBerry. It runs Android, so it's not.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
Let's move on. We got another piece of bad news. The Lego Dimensions is officially dead as well. Telltale, or Traveler's Tales Games, and WB, they are no longer making Lego Dimensions. This ends, after Season 2? Right? Did they even get to the Year 3 stuff yet?
No.
There was a plan to do it, but this is it. End of Season 2, or Year 2. We're done. Now, as far as Toys to Life goes, is anything left? I mean, can you still get Skylanders? Have they canceled that
you
yet?
You can still get them, but it hasn't been officially canceled. But there hasn't been one.
Yeah, they're on hiatus.
More than a year, I think.
Yeah, because they didn't come out with a new game this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, even Nintendo said Amiibo sales have dropped off dramatically. They're still producing them, but it's not like the hype was.
Yeah.
I personally called that on Amiibos. I thought they were stupid, and it was blowing my mind that people were spending like hundreds and thousands of dollars to get these on eBay. It's like, this is gonna blow over in like a year because it just doesn't make any sense if they're that much.
Just crazy. I agree.
Yeah,
it smells of the death of rhythm game industry as well. I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of saw it coming. Then there's oversaturation, and you start to see one fall, then the next, and the next, and the next, and it's not surprising, I don't think, to see this happen. They couldn't exist forever. They just kind of they go for when they as far as they can take it, and then people stop, and they're like, okay, that's what happened. And this was a very time sort of based thing where people aren't going to buy these figurines forever, obviously, so.
Do you guys do any of these, like Lego Dimensions?
Oh yeah, I have it. I have Lego Dimensions.
How many Lego Dimensions things do you have?
I have maybe a dozen of the characters and stuff. I haven't bought any of the new ones. Like, I didn't buy any of the season 2 stuff yet.
Yeah,
but
no.
I'm going to now, obviously, because they say they're going to keep supporting and updating it. But writing's on the wall at this point. So, and somebody mentioned in the Discord chat, we should actually put the link in the show notes. But there is a website where you can buy just the round RFID discs, which are the base of the Lego Dimensions characters, and that's the only part you actually need for it to read that you have the character. So I think I'm going to go on there and just kind of go on a spending spree for what I need to finish that game before it closes. So
no, that would be key to just because you don't need any of the critters. You just need to be able to unlock the content that gets you those achievements.
Yep.
So yeah,
I'll play through the Lego Dimensions if somebody wants to lend the sets to me.
I'd call up Damien. I'm sure he's
probably. Or if Proulx is going to buy them all, then
you can have one of them done.
Might make a trip down. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're fun. I did all the Disney Infinity stuff. I didn't like Disney Infinity as much as I like Skylanders. I've got a bit of a backlog of Skylanders to go through, but of what I've played, I've always enjoyed it. So I don't know. I would like to see it maybe turn into like once every year or 2 or 3 years kind of franchise that, comes around here and there for the remaining fans.
Do we think Skylanders will come back? Or is this just going to be the beginning of the end? Obviously, Disney.
That's kind of what I mean for Skylanders. I think that's the only one that has enough to it that it's going to stick around. Like, because where I assume it's the same for Lego Dimensions, where there's a lot of kind of like the creative aspect, like trying to be Minecraft-ish.
Oh no, nope. It's literally just a Lego game with the figurines as well. Yeah.
Okay, maybe not then, because I looked at mostly I played both Skylanders and Infinity, and I found Disney Infinity to be very lacking in general content. I mean, they had all the challenges and stuff, but they were really, it was just like build this toy box or download this toy box so you can like grind out this thing and then move on. There wasn't a lot of actual content, and the content that was there was not very good.
Yeah.
Whereas Skylanders is like, it's a 3D platformer game, 3D adventure game, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, where you've got all your characters. Like, I much prefer that because it's a solid foundation for a game first, with the extra characters and stuff second. And then Disney Infinity was just kind of like, how can we get on this bandwagon?
Disney Infinity reminded me of Project Spark, where it's like you've got some really cool pieces there to like, oh yeah, you can create a game and you could do this toy box and do all this other stuff, but it's like really the only stuff that's worth playing is stuff that's already made by the developer, and it's real shallow. And then maybe you can find a couple of gems that people have done on their own, but again, it's shallow and it doesn't really do anything for you. So what's the point?
Project Spark did that way better than Project Spark did Disney Infinity way better than Disney Infinity did.
Yeah.
Well, if you're Dimensions, it is essentially just a Lego game. So if you like the Lego game experience, the Traveler's Tales experience, you're going to have fun with it. But don't expect much more than that, other than obviously you're kind of mixing all these different universes together and stuff like that. So gameplay's solid. I like the Lego games.
idea more than what I was thinking it was.
Yeah, no, it's
So
almost exactly. I mean, there's really no significant differences between, say, for example, Lego Star Wars and Lego Dimensions. Lego Dimensions just has a bunch of different properties in it, and then of course they kind of introduced this. You actually play and build Legos during the game, sort of experience, but you don't actually have to do it. So it's super easy just to be like, oh yeah, I totally rebuilt this Batmobile. This Lego Batmobile, trust me, and you just press the A button, and it just it just goes on. It doesn't matter. So,
so you're supposed to build it with the Lego that came with the set, but it has no way of sensing that.
Yeah, no way of sensing it. No, it just senses the same RFID chip. Like I said, all you need is the base, and you're good to go. So,
I don't know if it's still around because Activision was going crazy on suing about it. But there was, for a while, you could buy a rewritable RFID chip that you could use with an app on your phone, and just it had all the Skylanders, had all the Disney Infinities, had everything, and you would just, say, okay, I want it to be this, tag it, and then put it on the portal, and you'd have that thing. I mean, obviously, it's like hardware hacking kind of thing, but I mean, it worked. Like if you wanted to, it was like $60, and if you wanted to have all of the everything, it would do it. It'd be every Skylander, it'd be every Disney Infinity, it would be every. I assume Lego. I don't know.
It's the same technology.
Lego was out at the time, but I'm sure it did Lego too. So I don't know if that's still around, and you want to get all the stuff done. That might be the way to go.
Yeah,
I imagine Activision has had it killed off though.
Well, I will say though, it's I think, like Proulx said, now's the time. Keep your eye out on sales. Watch out for, because people are going to start to purge their inventory. There's no reason to keep these things on the shelf anymore, especially if they're not. You can already get the base game and stuff for like $3. There's fire sales on all this stuff. The one thing keeping it from just going dirt cheap is the fact that it's Lego. And Legos never go on sale, which is annoying because I have 2 kids who love Legos, and it's so hard to find them at a reasonable price. They're just nuts right now. So, but yeah, there's a lot of DLC here. A lot of DLC that you need to do to get this achievement or this completion off the books. There's another game that a lot of people have been clamoring for adding to or creating a new one, and that's Sunset Overdrive. There was some news this week where, it's one of the nice things I like about Twitter is that you can just go ahead and reach out directly to whatever company you want and send them a message. And so somebody did, and he said, hey, Sunset Overdrive 2, please. That's just a nice thing to ask, right? And so Insomniac Games actually replied to him and said, hey, we'd love to. We just need to find a publisher. So, because Insomniac owns the rights to Sunset Overdrive 2. And that was one of the weird... Because it's not normal of Microsoft to not retain their own IP, but they let Insomniac keep the IP here. And so do you think Microsoft would be interested in doing Sunset Overdrive 2? Given the lack of first-party games, and obviously it wouldn't be first-party, but exclusive, this could be another one of those. Do you think they'd just get the timing a little better? Do you think I don't know. Did you guys even play Sunset Overdrive 1? I feel like, Proulx, you played that free demo weekend.
No, I
looked too much like Crackdown.
No, I played the game. I beat the game. I don't have it completed or anything, but I've beaten the game and played a little bit of the multiplayer stuff. I don't have any interest in Sunset Overdrive 2. I thought Overdrive was fine. It was not bad. It had an interesting experience, but it wasn't... I thought the humor was kind of over the top and stuff like that. I don't know. I think, and we've talked about this before, I think it's clear that Microsoft isn't interested in publishing the game. And that's why they're kind of passively aggressively saying, hey, if somebody else wants to pick this up, we'll do it. If somebody else wants to help us, finance this thing. I just don't think there's enough desire for it. I don't think there's enough drive for it in the market. It wasn't enough to stand out. It was basically kind of like Jet Set Radio meets, I don't know, God, some sort of a shooter, Gears of War. I don't know, some sort of third-person shooter. It was mediocre to me. So I don't clamor for Sunset Overdrive 2, and I'm okay if it never happens. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, like you mentioned, having an extra exclusive might be nice. And Insomniac is such a well-respected studio. I'm surprised that Microsoft isn't at least trying to court them for just at least for that reason, just to get on their good side, that sort of stuff. But
yeah,
I'm okay without Sunset Overdrive 2.
Wasn't Insomniac 2 in their backyard? Where are they located? I thought they were up in that
I'm not sure.
in that area. Not that it's, not that it really matters. Okay, so well, if Microsoft doesn't want to pick it up, right? Because they, Insomniac owns the IP. Anybody can. We've had a huge growth of new publishers coming out. Is the idea just because maybe you're smaller publishers like Team 17 or Curve Digital or Devolver or any of those who are kind of dipping their toe into the publishing. I mean, again, Team 17's been doing it for a while, but kind of these new upstart ones that are doing mostly indie games that they're publishing. Is something like Sunset Overdrive 2 too much for them? Or can you come up with a price point, given that you've got the resources from the first game? You may not have to reinvent all these things. Maybe one of these smaller companies could step up and be like, hey, maybe this would work. Who I think would be a great fit? Gearbox. I mean, this type of comedy, this type of just real in-your-face type of gameplay and humor and all that, that fits very much in with what Gearbox is, their style. And they could publish something like this. I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually, I agree with you. That's actually a really good fit, I think.
They're big enough, too.
Yeah, they certainly are. Again, I don't know. Sunset didn't set the world on fire at the time. It was just kind of a thing that happened, and then it has been since then. But I don't know. I just don't. There are occasionally I'll see people asking, "Oh, let's get Sunset Overdrive 2," and I'm like, it just doesn't seem that there's enough demand there for that game.
What about? I mean, did you enjoy the movement mechanics on it? Did you like that kind of jet set, jumping around, grinding, that type of thing?
Yeah, I didn't hate it, and yeah, that felt pretty smooth. I liked the movement. Yeah, for sure. I can say that.
Let me pitch an idea to you here. All right,
okay.
You take that kind of movement, 100 people, battle royale style. Sunset Overdrive Battlegrounds.
Maybe not a bad idea.
There it is.
It could be fun. It could be a lot of fun.
Fine. Oh, speaking of David S. Pumpkins, it's on. The Halloween special. It's here. Do you guys do anything? I mean, so when this comes out, it'll be the first. So I'll pretend like this is happening right now. What did you do yesterday for Halloween? Do you guys dress up? You gonna do anything?
Well, I'll tell you what I do on Halloween. I get out my favorite pajama pants. They're not actually my favorite pajama pants, but they're my Halloween pajama pants.
Yeah, great.
And they are pink, and they have peeps on them, like the marshmallow birds.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pink peeps pattern, and it's sparkly.
Yeah, it's not really Halloween, is it?
It's my Halloween. That's all I do.
That's Canadian Halloween, Fream.
I got you.
No, in other words, no, I don't really do anything for Halloween. It's just an excuse to wear my pink Pete pants.
So what do you do for Easter?
Oh, yeah, that would be more apappropriate for Easter.
That's exactly...
I could wear those for Easter, too.
I thought that was a bit. I thought you were joking with me that... Because, you obviously would wear those for Easter, but you're telling me this is the first you've heard of wearing Peeps pajama pants for...
Yeah, actually it is.
That blows my mind. Okay.
Needless to say, I don't really celebrate either of those things.
Okay, then.
So...
Yeah.
There will probably be children coming to my house.
Random children just coming to your house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
probably.
Right. Okay. Last piece of news I want to touch on here is Mass Effect. Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah, no, didn't really have the expectations that I think people were hoping. And so we had the announcement, and I don't think we mentioned it on the show, but it's been widely publicized to everyone else that there's no more DLC coming. Like it's done. They've
Womp
shifted
womp.
focus. All that's gone. And a lot of people were like, hey, there's kind of some open issues in that story that would be really great if you could just tie those things up. And, granted, I don't want to pay for it, or it's pretty much a done game. You're not going to make any money back, but I'd really like to know, like, for one thing, that Quarian Arc, like whatever happened to that other group of of people from Earth. Yeah. They've essentially said, okay, look, this is the best we can do for you. No DLC. That's not happening. But we've got this author, Catherine Valente. She's writing a book that apparently is going to tell you what happens. The book is called Mass Effect Annihilation, and it's going to come out a year from now in June. Well, I guess 7 months from now, June 26, 2018 is when it's supposed to come out. And it does indeed tell you about what happens to the Quarian Arc. Finish up that storyline, get a little bit of closure. Is this something you'd actually read, Proulx? Do you like reading your video games? Did you read like the Halo books or anything? You're a pretty big Halo fan.
I did read originally the first 3 or 4 Halo books, which were pretty interesting. In fact, I think one of the first ones was actually The Fall of Reach, way before Halo Reach came out. So a lot of what they pulled for that game came from that book, although they changed some things. Anyways, not important. I've never read a Mass Effect book, even considering how massive a fan of Mass Effect I am. So I have no interest in this book. Yeah, I would... Maybe this is a little bit of Randy coming out in me, but I'm going to be a little cynical and say, you know what, in 6 months, if they cancel this quietly and nobody knows and, they just say we're not doing this anymore, I would not be surprised. I think this is them throwing the fans a bone, a very small, insignificant bone at this point. It's disappointing to see that there's not going to be any DLC. I mean, it's been clear since the game came out that there were issues and all this sorts of stuff, and I don't know. I weep.
Do you think this is actually like BioWare and EA saying, like, please write a book to finish this? Or do you think this is just this woman is like, I really like Mass Effect and you guys screwed the pooch on me, so I would love to be able to, like, write about this. Can I write a story? What
I'm sure this is a contract of between BioWare / EA and whatever publishing house they go through, saying that we'll produce X amount of titles a year or however long span of time. I'm sure this is just kind of a vestige of that sort of thing. I could be wrong about that. I don't think this is something that they're doing enthusiastically. I think this is something they're doing out of what they feel is obligation, or like I said, kind of just to pander to the fans that they have left at this point. I don't know. Mass Effect is in a pretty sad state right now.
Yeah.
And again, as a massive fan, I'm certainly not going to read this book. I don't even care that it's coming out. I would rather get the DLC for the Quarian Arc, but that's obviously not going to be the case. I guess what I should say is that it's to remain optimistic. I'm excited for in 5 years from now to get the reboot of Mass Effect, or however they handle it.
Yeah.
Because it seems like we're not going to get really any more Mass Effect content until then.
Right. Randy, does it do anything for you?
No.
Yeah.
I have a question, though.
What's that?
Was Mass Effect Andromeda really that bad?
No.
Now that you've played it and gone through it, or was it just the backlash from, the lovely gaming community?
I do think that there were, especially with that early animation stuff that people got really upset about, that was super silly and not substantive at all. I think Andromeda's biggest issue is its mediocrity. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Some parts of it are pretty good, I would say, but the fact that it doesn't stand up to the original trilogy at this point, and early reviews and that sort of stuff, I think it's a victim of expectations versus reality. And it's a really interesting thing because how do you follow up something like Mass Effect? It's the same thing with Halo, right? Like Halo 4 and 5 and what they're doing now with the Halo franchise, or even Gears if you wanted to say. You can only maintain a certain level of success for so long. You have the option to fundamentally change it or, keep spitting it out like, say, Assassin's Creed or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer to do is, but Andromeda just didn't work for a lot of people. And it's too bad. I don't necessarily want Andromeda 2. I honestly don't even know what I want as a Mass Effect fan. I don't know what I can't even... And I can't imagine how frustrating that would be as a developer. Like, me, as someone who's loves the series, like, I can't tell them what I would want to see. But Andromeda wasn't it, and it wasn't it for a lot of people, so... That's tough. They were put in a tough situation.
I'm really curious what they're going to do when they bring it back. I mean, because inevitably we'll bring it back. I mean, it has to in some regard. But how do you distance yourself from it, and how do you I don't even know at this point.
Nope.
Would you be okay with it just ending?
Yeah. I mean, I would have been fine with it if we didn't get Andromeda.
Without Andromeda.
Yeah. I mean, I would have always wanted to see more, but I would have been satisfied with that closing out the Mass Effect universe. But that's just not the way that the games industry works, you're going to see more of it. So, but yeah, I actually, if they had just stuck to their guns and said, we're doing 1 through 3 and that's it. That would have worked for me. I would have not been disappointed, I don't think.
I mean, I kind of look at that the way I think about BioShock and how I'm so happy that there hasn't been another one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like you can remake it all you want, up the graphics, whatever. Just don't make another one because it was done. It was closed. The story's over, and it ended on a very high note.
It did,
and that's all we need.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need any more. Just let it be. And so far, that's been fine.
That's really hard to do too with something that's so lucrative.
It is.
I mean, you want to burn it to the ground, and you just start to really piss people off.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that they did that because exactly, like BioShock Infinite was hugely successful. It was super well received. Great game. BioShock obviously was super well received. Great game. So it's like, oh yeah, well, let's make 13 more sequels until it's not profitable, and then close whatever studio that made it.
Yeah.
No, it's I'm very happy about that. So
nice.
Especially now because, BioShock would be loot BioShock with loot boxes, and the little sisters give you more loot boxes, and if you don't get the right one, you gotta spend $20 for a new one.
So like when you're going through Rapture and you see all those smuggler crates, like you to open them in the game, you actually have to open. Yeah, you need keys.
Well, I was just gonna say, to be fair, like it would be super easy to add it into BioShock because you can just you often go to vending machines to buy things, and instead of buying them with in-game currency, you could just hey, spend $2 and
keys
and yeah, and buy yourself. I'm trying to think of like your new Big Daddy can have a sparkly gold helmet instead of a regular one. Yeah, that would be
that you can't see.
That would be, I think, tragic. But yeah, that's actually a really interesting topic that maybe we could cover sometime. Is game series that may have felt like they ended too soon, but probably were okay
better off for it.
Yeah. So
now I could bring up one of my favorite series that ended on a very tragic note, and it's bad. Earthworm Jim 3 Earthworm Jim 3 was quite the ending. Man, when I spent so much time, I'm gonna have to talk about it now. I spent so much because the game is terrible. I hated the game, but I wanted to see the ending because I had kind of read about it and I didn't want to just look it up and I wanted to get it for myself. So I played it. I got all the marbles. So you only could see the real ending if you got Actually, I think you had to get all the collectibles to beat the game.
Okay.
Which was ridiculous because there were like 1,000 collectibles. So I got all the collectibles. And you get the final boss, whatever. And I assume nobody here is going to play it, so I'm going to spoil it.
You're going to spoil it for us?
I'm going to spoil it. You are crushed by a fridge and die.
As a worm, you actually...
And that is how the series ends.
Wow, that's bold.
You're crushed by a fridge and die after you spend all this time collecting all these marbles. And I think the game started... I think you got hit by a cow, which is common. That happens in Earthworm Jim. There are cows that fall on people. And then you lose your marbles. Which is why you have to collect your marbles. So then you collect all your marbles, and you wake up, and then you get crushed by a fridge. And that's the end of the game.
Wow.
And then you can replay the game as Earthworm Kim, which is just Earthworm Jim with a wig, and then it's the hard mode.
Oh, boy.
Then you can get crushed by a fridge again and die.
And then Tim? Earthworm Tim?
No.
How many do we have?
No, I think it ends at Kim.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, that...
Man, that's...
The people that made that game is the worst.
Oh,
it's ruined.
Absolutely the worst, huh?
It's worse than Harmonix, I think.
Well, that's saying something.
And, you know... I held a grudge against Rockstar for a long time for publishing that game. Rockstar published it.
Really?
I don't think they had any hand in producing it, but they published it, and their logo is on the front of the cartridge.
Huh.
So from when I played that game on, I held a grudge against Rockstar for a long time.
I didn't even realize that. Well, we should move into some feedback. Oh, you know what? Before we do the feedback, though, I got to tell you this story. Oh, my gosh. All right. So, listen, it was like Tuesday this week, right? And I had to...
Z to Z Podcast presents Review Zed.
Alrighty, thanks for that intro, guys. And here we are with another Review Zed. With me this week is Proulx. Spaz is taking some time off. Hey, Proulx, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. A little tired. It's been a long week, but at least we had a game to play, right?
We did, and play it, did we? I think, and we'll be here to talk about it. What is that game, anyways?
Well, this week we played Candleman. It's a platformer published by eHome Entertainment, developed by Spotlighter Interactive. It was released on the 1st of February 2017, and well, TA considers it a platformer. Like I say, I'm definitely going to agree with that because well, we did a lot of jumping.
Yes, I think puzzle platformer might be a more apt description of exactly what's going on in this game. Because, yeah.
No, I'm with you there.
Yeah. It is a very simple game, I will say. That's where I'm going to start. I'm going to say that this game is very simplistic. You have literally 2 buttons to press. You can jump, and you can light yourself on fire. Since you're a candle, though, and you're made out of wax, you don't have an infinite amount of light that you can cast. I don't know if I think it was like maybe 10 seconds probably if you were actually to hold the button down and sustain it. Maybe 10 seconds of light ability per level. But that's it. 2 button controls. I mean, you could play this game if the NES had a control stick. You could play it on the NES, right?
Oh, definitely. Thankfully, the graphics don't look 8-bitty. I mean, this is not one of those pixelated games. The guys actually did some nice work here. Unfortunately, like we were discussing before we started here, it feels a little generic. The premise of this is that you are a candle that can talk and choose when it burns. And your objective is to reach the end of the level, and along the way, you'll find other candles that you can light to give a little more light to help your way, as well as, of course, unlock achievements. But that's about it. That's where the creativity ends. There's some really cool looking lighting design, which you would expect, considering how that's the only element to the game is whether or not you you have light, because everything is pretty much dark and you rarely have a whole lot of idea of what's around you. So you've got to use this, approximately 10 seconds of burn time wisely. Not only do you have to light candles on fire, you also have to figure out where you are and where you're going. Thankfully, at least I discovered when I was playing, because I'm apparently not great at puzzle platformers, when you light a candle on fire, it stays lit on fire for your entire 10 lives. If you run out of lives, you have to start over. If you finish a chapter and you don't light all the candles, you only have to light the ones you missed, which is a plus.
Oh, I did not know that. We were talking here before we started recording, and I'm following a walkthrough, and you are not. You're just kind of going into it, blind.
Yes, very much.
Maybe you should burn your candles before you get in there. But yeah, that's interesting. That's nice of them, actually. That's a good feature, that you don't have to redo the stuff that you've already done. This game to me is about as plain Jane as you can get. You're introduced to the main mechanics right away. Again, like I said, jump, light candles, and you have a limited amount of time to use your flame ability. And then that's it. There's a couple of smaller elements. There are some enemies that come in later chapters, but it's basically based on this idea of you want to get to the end of the level without extinguishing yourself. But it's weird, because you can extinguish yourself. You can die by running out of wax. 10 lives is pretty generous for these levels, I think. Maybe you disagree with me not actually reading because I'm reading the guide, so it's super easy for me. But even in the times that I wasn't really following it super closely, it seemed to be 10 lives was pretty nice.
I think it's very generous. I've only actually run all the way out of them once. On one particular level, I was having a hard time timing my jumps with my light at the same time, and once I finally got through that, I didn't have issues. But I take it back. There was one lengthy part. I don't remember if it's the end of chapter 2 or end of chapter 3, where there was no checkpoint in the entire level, and you need to do it from start to finish. Usually there's checkpoint, like you light a candle and then you'll come back to that candle again as a checkpoint. Usually there's one per level. That particular level, you need to make an entire run. There's no candles to light after you get to a certain point, and it's just you going, and it's a very long run that I felt was rough compared to what they had asked of you before. But then again, this is perhaps just me and sucking at platforming.
Yeah, so it's interesting, because our experiences are very different. Would you say, not following the guide and not generally being good at this type of game, would you say that, how did you find it overall? I found it more monotonous and tedious than difficult. It's more of a challenge for me to actually be motivated to finish these levels than to deal with falling off the cliff too many times and have to restart. Did you find that to be the case for yourself, or was it still challenging to you enough that you kind of stayed interested in it the whole time?
Perhaps it's sad to say, but no, it was actually challenging enough for me to keep me interested, because I had a harder time keeping track, I guess, mentally as to where the edges of platforms were, and I would just be perhaps frustrated playing it too late at night. Maybe came into being as well, but I would just find myself sometimes running and falling stupidly, and then getting more and more frustrated with it because I hadn't thought to, light up the area and see what's going on. I think it definitely had a good level of difficulty for someone who's not great at the platforming genre.
So how far did you get into the game?
I've only finished the first 3 chapters.
Okay. I was curious because, again, and I cheated, so you can blame me and not Warren here. I beat the game, and I'm 1 chapter into the 3-chapter DLC. First of all, the DLC is nice because it is free and adds 500 Gamerscore, I believe, is the case.
Yep, 500.
And it's only 3 chapters. But my issue with the game, again, following a guide and not really, trying to experience the game, quote unquote, how it was intended, is boredom. These chapters have varying amounts of levels. I think it's usually probably, 4, 5, 6, something like that, or chapters or whatever they're called. And it's just, to go through and make sure you get every 6, 7, 8, 9 candles in each chapter. It's just, it got to a point where it just became very, very samey. And I was just doing this over and over again and over and over and again. And sometimes they would introduce one new tiny element, like a new bad guy. But I don't know. It feels super, like, for the amount of time I spent, I feel like I spent a lot more time in it. It feels super.
Here's another good comparison, I guess. You and I have played about the same amount of time. You've beat the game, and I have only finished a third of it. And we both put, 4 hours and change into this. So, yeah, definitely.
Did you ever feel like were you bored though at any point? Maybe it's just the way I'm playing.
Actually, when they came out with those new elements, things like, let's say like the rolling barrel, for instance, I was actually intrigued by it. And I started trying to find things like to get to from it, which is how I found a candle I was missing, actually. But yeah, when they actually introduced those new elements, I was actually excited because, this is something new. Okay, cool. I can play with this. But I guess, that's just, I'm more of an adventure kind of player. I want to explore everything, whereas platforming is typically just more, you need to be good at getting from point A to point B, and I want to go from point A to point C and eventually get back to point B.
Yeah. It's interesting too. Obviously as an achievement show here, generally I think people are pretty interested in like the fastest way to do it. This may be one of those types of games where you're going to get a better experience not doing it, because like I said, like 4 hours. It felt like I played this game for 10 hours, and it's not like the game is bad. It's not. I think it's pretty well designed. It's just that if you're just reading the list and you're just going through the levels, it can get really, really repetitive. But if you're challenging yourself and you're trying to figure out, hey, where's this candle? Why can't I get to it? Let me retry. It may be more interesting. It may be a more interesting experience for you. So I think my biggest complaint about the game is how samey it feels and how it just feels like I was kind of going through the motions. But again, it's to be fair to the game, didn't really give it its fair shake as far as that's concerned anyways.
Fair enough. I guess the only thing I would really hit it points for would be in aesthetic design. I understand they're trying to focus specifically on the whole play of light, but the levels really didn't have much going for them. There wasn't much that set the places apart from each other. Light was really, the only thing that would kind of point you out, like, oh yeah, I'm in a different area now because I've got a strobing light here, or it's just completely dark. But yeah, to me, if they had taken the time to kind of dress it up a little more, maybe it would have captured my interest that much more. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because for a good chunk of the levels, you're basically moving from darkness, through the dark levels into light patches. So you go to this thing where there's a light source, and you have to figure out how to deal with that. Then you go through the darkness into the next light source, and half the game is basically not really visible, if that makes sense. You can obviously use your ability to light up that portion, and sometimes you have to, but you have to be very, very careful with how much of your light that you use. So a good chunk of this game is spent in total darkness, even though it's based on light, which does make sense, but it's also kind of does the graphics a disservice because you don't really get to see most of them.
Exactly. One kind of funny point, I guess, talking about the whole being aware of how much wax you have. I ran out of wax as soon as I lit a candle. Literally 1 second after I lit my first candle, I ran out of wax. Which, as I recall, it's the one making a run behind from where you start originally.
Oh yeah. Oh, so you just held the button and ran with it? I held the
button on down and ran with it, and I died before I got over there. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah.
And then I realized, I'm a candle. Duh.
And because you start the game and you're in darkness. I mean, which again is an effective way to kind of push that idea. But what I do like though is the wax drippings that go on the floor
Yes.
wherever you've used your candle before. So it kind of gives you a sense of, okay, I've been here. Maybe something didn't work. I didn't need to use my candle wax there. Maybe like it just gives you this kind of sense of like how that has happened before.
Actually, I used it as a marker. I would use it to mark where I had to jump when I was making multiple runs on things.
That's
Just
smart.
because I had to make multiple runs because I would constantly fall off. So I guess in the end, I would give this a meh. It's nothing I would go out and spend the $15 it costs for. But however, it's still a decent game overall. I would recommend it, especially if you're looking for Gamerscore. If it's on sale, go ahead and grab this. It is a really fun game, and then with the free title update, it's just low-hanging fruit, basically.
Yeah, I would not spend $15 on this game, but if it was $5 or cheaper, I should say, and again with the free DLC stuff, that's 1,500 points, probably in under 6 hours if you follow the guide. 8 hours maybe if you don't. Pretty decent bang for your buck at that point. It's definitely worth it. It's not a lot of negatives to the game. I maybe I came off negative on it, but it's just generic to me. But it's pretty well designed, and you're not going to have a terrible time with it. At worst, you're going to be bored, but the points are there for sure.
Excellent. So there we have it. Find it on sale. All right, I guess that finishes Zed for us and back to you guys.
Woohoo!
Okay, so now I have this huge, disgusting mess to clean up. I mean, it's just gross. But anyway, so that's my story. Time for feedback. Let's move into... We have a ton of stuff from our community. We're going to start with Kung Fu Skills. This was submitted, I think, last week, actually, so we're trying to clear out some of the backlog as well. He said, I played a much wider variety of games due to the random to-do list and UHH in the last month, and for me it was fun to revisit my started games, but super frustrating to relearn the controls. He said, I know Fream, have mentioned in the past some of his pain, but do you feel like gaming should be done in a more linear fashion, with only a few at a time instead, or is this contest stuff fun? What do you guys think? I know we've all complained about it before, where it's just so obnoxious to try and remember how to play a game. I just did that today with Zombie Vikings. I have a random to-do list for finishing the game, and I am on the last, essentially the last boss right now, where I left off, and so I had to do 2 levels or something, and just to relearn all the mechanics in that was oh man, that is such a huge pain in the butt. What do you guys agree? Should we be playing games more linearly, or is it okay to jump around a little bit? Proulx?
I like jumping around. This is one of the reasons that the random to-do list is my favorite of all of the competitions that we do, is because I like to go back, and it is tough. I admit that you have to kind of relearn the controls every time you pick up the controller, but I kind of like it. It reintroduces you to something that you may have experienced before, but in a new light. I don't know. I'm okay with it, and I understand the frustration, especially as soon as you're put the game in the system, how to get back into it.
Yeah,
it can be kind of frustrating and a little bit disorienting at first, but on the other hand, it's kind of fresh and kind of reinvigorates you to play something new and unique.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's almost kind of tests you as a gamer. Do I remember how quick can I get back into the groove here? But for some games, it's just not realistic. I mean, I know in multiple instances where I just go ahead and just restart the game. If it was an early achievement, and I'll purposefully go get the achievement and then not save it, so that when I come back to it, it's all right, I got to just start over, redo the tutorial, because otherwise I will totally forget everything. Randy, do you have any comments?
I kind of have a rule for myself that if I'm going to start a game, at least through the campaign, I will play it through to the end unless something big comes up. But I don't like to put games down and pick them back up. If I'm going to sit down and play that game, I generally like to play it to completion. Unless it's kind of like an arcade style game that you can just jump into whenever.
Right.
If it's a kind of like not even necessarily a story driven game, but a game where you have to spend a fair bit of time learning the mechanics that you're going to forget over time, I want to just do the whole thing.
I've done a few, and granted, my lists, my pull games pool isn't quite tailored to this, but many of the games I have on there are indeed pick up and play type games, or they're short enough completions where it's I always had the theory hey, if this game comes up, it's only an 8 to 10 hour completion. If it comes up in the month for random to-do list, I'm just going to sit down, I'm going to finish it this month. That'll be my excuse to get some completions out of the way. Now, I've completely failed at doing that, but that was always the idea, was, put some of the smaller games on there so that I can, chip away at just getting things off my list. But especially for those games where it's I really should focus and spend time and just play through so I don't forget. But I'm real bad about that. I'm real bad about it. Wonderful. Thank you for that question. We got Midnight Delight. He left a question on my friend feed, and I said, hey, my daughter had a good question for me last night. How do left-handed people play the controller? And how come left-handed controllers aren't a thing? So, you guys, I'm actually left-handed. I don't know if you guys know. Are you guys left-handed at all?
Nope.
I'm not.
No. Now, I'm a little weird when it comes to being left-handed. My left-handedness is a little weird. Everything that involves dexterity, I use my left hand. So if I'm eating or painting or writing, that's all left-handed stuff. But anything that involves strength is my right hand, is my dominant hand. So, playing sports, baseball, shooting a basket, all those kind of things, that's all right-handed for me. My brother's the exact opposite. He does, the complete flip-flop. And then my sister is straight left-handed. So that's kind of peculiar. But I think for many people, and the only person I know that actually switches their controllers around is, you've heard, if you guys listen to the X1 Bros podcast, Mr. McSpicy likes playing Southpaw style. But most other people, I think, they just learn the right way, or the right way.
Well, it is the right way. I mean, that's
yeah,
fair.
the right-handed way.
Yeah.
You just, because that's just what you're used to. I don't know, even with left-handed people, I don't know that many people who use a computer mouse with their left hand. I know there's a left-handed mode where you can switch it, but I feel like everyone still just uses their right hand, which to me actually works out great, because if I'm, because I can use the mouse with my right hand and still take notes and write with my left hand, so I actually almost prefer that. But I think you just ultimately get used to it and learn, I control, because it's not really a handedness thing in that regard. It's, I look with my left hand and I shoot or aim with my right hand. I mean, they both inherently are needed, so you almost have to be ambidextrous, I suppose. But
it's a weird question, only because I guess, what are they implying here? Is it would you expect to see a controller with the face buttons on the left and the quote unquote left stick on the right? I don't know what a left-handed controller would look like.
I guess I would. Right? Yeah, it would have the buttons on the left side. It would just be inverted. You'd be better at hitting buttons with your left thumbs instead of your right thumbs.
I think
you have more than one left thumbs.
Yeah, right. I think you're right. I think it's more to do with, kind of training and
just a customization.
Being custom. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know that it would actually help left-handed people. Maybe it would. I'm not left-handed, so I can't say. But to me, it seems like it wouldn't actually really be advantageous to actually have I say backwards, but a reversed controller.
Yeah. And to be honest, I mean, if I wanted to, Like, yes, it's not my traditional. Like, if I were to pick up a baseball bat, and I would pick it up and hold it with a right-handed swing, but it might feel weird at first. But if I did it enough left-handed, I would learn to hit left-handed. Like, that's just something that it's an acquired. You might pick it up and just say, "Yeah, this feels wrong," and I'm assuming that's what Mr. McSpicy does when he wants to switch his controllers so that the look is on his right stick and the shoot is on his left stick. Like, that just makes sense to him. But I feel in those instances, because it's we just haven't had that many options for controller customization, that like you'd be confused all the time because some games wouldn't allow you to do it and others would, and then you're like, okay, how do I aim now in this game, and how do I, because you keep messing with controller configurations that you almost just go with the default. And now, that being said, there's some controller defaults that are just awful. They're just total garbage, and you're like, why did they program this button to do this?
Inverted controls, yeah.
Invert is one of them. Or
Yeah.
I was thinking freaking Halo, the aim down sight being the stick or whatever. Like, it's just nonsense. It'd be great to just change that, because I don't want that one bit. But typically, the developer has like played it at least to say, yeah, this feels good. This feels good. I like how this plays. Maybe not, but anyway.
I would also suggest, again, unless they're suggesting that you actually change the layout of the controller as it is now, get the Elite controller, because that is completely customizable.
Yeah.
Right? Where you can change the function of all the buttons. Again, unless they're suggesting that we're switching where the placement of the buttons are on the controller. Obviously, there's not much you can do about that. Again, unless you like cut the controller in half, which is not possible. But and then switched the thing. I don't really know what they're suggesting. But if that's an issue for you, yeah, get the Elite controller. I know it's expensive, but try it out, because you can actually customize all those controls.
Or you just get a Switch, and then you can just pick whatever hand you want to hold it in, I suppose.
Ugh.
Right?
Well, you can customize the controller, any controller now, right? With that software on the console.
Did they make it available?
Like, I think you can like remap stuff.
Yeah, you can.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
For everything.
Just remapping, not it's.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can you remap the. I guess I've never even tried to remap the stick, but yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, I don't see why not if you can remap everything else.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway. All right, well, let's move on. We got Planting42 says, hey, what's your most rewarding completion? You guys are a bunch of completionists, right?
Yeah.
You got a favorite one?
I think Graf would have to be.
Yeah, I'd be hard to argue against that, I suppose.
Yeah.
I should pull up my list here and just hit the old games with the what I've done. I mean, I was super happy with the Project Spark completion, getting that thing done. That was pretty cool, and not very easy. But let's see, how do I get my completed games on here? It's because I have my setting to non-complete games. Let's go through this list and see if there's anything. Because now I've kind of just shifted to really just taking out easy things, because I can't effectively spend time to do really anything else. So all of the even like all of my recent games that I've completed have been just a joke. So I'm I was gonna say Destiny. Like I'm really happy with Destiny, but I forgot that I actually like cheesed the Flawless Raider one. I had a group just walk me through it, and I did nothing for that. So that, now that I think about it, that kind of taints my appreciation for that.
And that may be true, Fream, but you don't sell yourself short, because in order to get the completion for Destiny, you actually had to play through Destiny. And
Destiny.
Honestly, it's not worth it. So, I mean, give yourself a pat on the back that you actually pushed yourself through that garbage game in order to complete it.
Titanfall was a good one.
I was going to actually... Titanfall would have been on my list for sure, because we talked about it before, but we put over a year into boosting that stuff. And, in hindsight, maybe there would have been better ways to do it, but yeah, it was super. Oh my God, that was such a satisfying completion to be like, okay, I'm done with Titanfall.
Yeah.
That definitely would be on my list, no doubt.
Yep, that was a good one. And then Rayman Legends, I'm pretty happy with. That was a grind and a half to finish that thing, and not terribly easy. So that was fun. And then the two Wipeout games, Wipeout 2 and Wipeout 3. Those Wipeout games are not easy at all. Especially, we talked about Connect earlier and its inability to track you that well. So that's really nice to get out of the way. I have one here. Hey, LA Noire. I finished LA Noire. Do you guys know that it's coming back soon?
What is?
LA Noire. Yeah, re-release. Can you believe it?
Whoa.
I know, right?
On the Xbox One?
Xbox One version.
Whoa.
Can I play it on my Xbox One X?
You totally can. It's going to have 4K stuff, too.
Wow, okay.
But here you go. This one. Now, this is a deep cut, okay? Do you guys remember the game Ascend, Hand of Cool?
Nope.
Yes.
It was an Xbox 360 free-to-play game that you had this like weird champion guy, and you fought your way. It was I think it was third person, and anyway, you battled through these levels, and then once you reached a certain level for your character, you could ascend and essentially erase your character and upgrade him. And you had to ascend a bunch of times or whatever. Anyway, that it's listed as a 60 to 80 hour completion, but the reason that it's on my list is because this one they made the announcement that the servers were going down, and they gave us plenty of time. Like, they did indeed say, like, hey, look, it only lasted a year. But they gave us ample time to say, look, we're shutting down the servers, so if you want anything out of this game, now's your chance. And the servers went down November 18th, 2014, and I had been working on this pretty regularly for the entire time, but it was going down on November 18th. I finished the game on November 7th, and it was like this hard push to the end to just, drive to that completion. That felt really good to, say like, oh crap, servers are closing. I got to move. We got to go. I got to start grinding and finish this thing up. And to do it was even better. So I'm going to put that on my list because I was super pumped that I was able to knock that one off. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to touch on for that question?
Actually, we mentioned it last week, but N Plus was a super satisfying completion as well for me. That game was tough, so I was really, really glad to get done with that.
I would have to say my second best is probably completing Kane and Lynch.
That was another leaderboard one, right?
That's another one of those games where I had thought for years and years and years that this is impossible to complete. No, like this, I will never get this completion, and then you get it, and it's amazing. I guess a couple other notable mentions were leaderboards that so obviously I had help with Kane and Lynch, but Kane and Lynch on PC, I boosted the entire leaderboard by myself in a weekend.
Jeez.
I played the game for like 30 hours or something in a weekend. It was just, that's all I did, and got number one. And then Fight Night round 4, I've had all 3 belts a couple of times, and I also, me and 2 other people boosted to the top of those leaderboards, and that was pretty satisfying. That was a very satisfying boost, because that was another one that was like, man, like this is going to take forever, and we did it in 3 weekends. So
where would Perfect Dark land on your list, Randy? I'm just curious.
Probably not top 10.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know.
I almost feel like I should make a list now and rank my
now,
completions.
now you're making me curious. Let's see.
Yeah, I feel like we should put a list
I
together.
mean, it's up there in ratio, but Guitar Hero 3 was another like really awesome completion, because that was again kind of one. Most of the really satisfying ones for me are the ones that I used to look at like before I got really into achievements, and I was like, I'll never get that completion ever. And then you get it. Perfect Dark might crack top 10. I don't know. It was pretty satisfying, I will say.
Well, of all those completions and developers that you've got, Fufu asks, who are your favorite game developers? Of course, besides Ubisoft, Volition, and Harmonix, who are your favorites?
My favorites.
Yeah, do you have a favorite crew out there? I feel like
Oddworld Inc.
Who does Oddworld? It's not Oddworld Inc.
Or
is it?
Oddworld Inhabitants, not Oddworld Inc. But yeah, they're totally independent. They publish, they self-publish, and they self-fund. They do all the development.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the list is dwindling these days.
It is getting slim, isn't it? Because you can take Konami off there, you can take Capcom off there. I'm not happy with them.
Rockstar probably.
I'll keep Rockstar on my list.
They dropped down a couple pegs, but like the product is still pretty good, despite it just being a microtransaction machine now. But it's still this. There's a good single player experience there. GTA Online is fun.
Remedy is on my list. I like their offerings.
I've got to have more.
What comes up in my mind is, and of course they've only had one game at this point. Well, they may have had more before, but Psyonix is just the way that they handle Rocket League is
top notch.
It is amazing, and I am so excited. I don't even care. I don't know what their plans are for the future. But I would follow that developer to the ends of the earth, because the way that they support the game is, to me, exactly what you'd want in a game like this. So, just to mention one that's more recent, anyways.
Yeah, Don't Nod. I like Don't Nod. I'm curious what that vampire game is that they're coming out with, but I thought they were.
Oh yeah.
That Remember Me was pretty cool, and then of course Life is Strange. So I think Don't Nod is trending upward for me. Campo Santo, they did a great job with Firewatch. I'm curious what they're going to do next. I mean, that's the thing. You kind of need more of a track record. And I was going to say Playdead, Limbo and Inside, but they don't exist anymore. So that kind of...
What happened with that?
Well, they split. The two dudes.
Oh. They
split. One guy is making it's weird. He's making a dark cinematic 2D platformer with it's I never heard of before. But one of them, the guy who left to start his new studio, he's making it's a Limbo-esque game. Which totally out of left field for him.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. He's really stepping out of the box there.
Yeah.
Oh, I was actually going to mention. Two developers who kind of, I don't want to say they're interchangeable for me, but they have kind of the same strengths and weaknesses as developers. Because you kind of know what you're getting with them either way, but I will say that both Telltale and Traveler's Tales, again, they're predictable. You know what's going to happen, but I think that the strengths that they have, obviously with the Lego and the Telltale model, work very well. And I'm always looking forward to their next games, regardless of what they are, because they're so strong in what they do that the experience is is great. So I like both of those developers, and I know they can be kind of samey, but that's where I stand on them.
Yeah.
I've found Irrational, the developers for Bioshock and Bioshock
They don't exist
Infinite.
anymore. They don't count. They're gone.
Oh, yeah, because they're...
They
Don't be
split.
irrational.
No, they exist, don't they?
No, they went to Molasses Flood is part of them, and because they did Flame in the Flood, and then the other ex-Irrational people went to... where'd they go? They just did another... Oh, I can't remember. Half of them went to Molasses Flood, and the other half went somewhere else. And then there's like others who went
Oh, yeah.
different places
I'm
too.
looking
But
here, yeah.
Starbreeze.
They're now named Ghost Story Games.
Okay, there you go. Starbreeze. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
Starbreeze is also very good.
They're doing that weird Walking Dead one, but they've got that A Way Out coming that looks really cool. So yeah, I like.
They did Payday as well.
Yep. Apparently they did The Darkness. That's weird.
Yep. I also kind of want to say Rare. Because Rare has never been... I mean, they got shunned to Connect, but have they ever really... I mean, those games weren't bad. They just were forced to work on Connect. I don't know.
What was the last good Rare game?
Yeah, I don't agree with Rare at all.
Yeah.
I certainly recently.
But
back
when
in the
was
day,
the last
they were
Rare game?
glorious.
Well,
it's
I
been
guess it depends on how
so-
you define it. I guess the last Rare game would be Nuts and Bolts.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay, you're right. You're right.
It would not. That would
We'll
not
take
be
them
on
off the list for now.
Firaxis. I'm going to put on the list for the XCOM game that they did.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
that. I thought they did such a
good
great
game.
job with that. Anyway, we could go on for hours.
Oh,
I feel
we're
like,
forgetting
with
the
these
best
guys.
developer, Hamster Corporation.
Hamster.
Of course. For
Yeah.
all of those great ACA games.
Are they considered a developer? Are they a publisher? Or how does that
I
work?
think they're both. I'm sure they made the engine. Let's see. They are both.
Engine, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like
Well, I
back
mean,
to
that's
his
the reason most of them are so bad.
Yeah, his original question, like, I actually like Ubisoft. I think actually they're a pretty decent developer, especially their Ubi art. I even actually answered that as my favorite Ubisoft games for the Free Code Friday was like really anything they've made with Ubi art so far. Rayman, Child of Light, Valiant Hearts, like those are all amazing games. Like I love their little art indie projects that they do internally, and I wish they would do more. Those are always, a lot cooler games in my opinion. But
I'm surprised, Fream, then that you didn't mention Bungie now at this point.
yeah, I mean, but I will say Blizzard. Throw Blizzard on that list. While I appreciate Destiny and I really like it, like I mean that's really it. Like because I didn't really care for the Halo games. I mean they were fine, but and probably just because I didn't grow up Xbox and when that was meaningful to me, like what Randy just said with Rare. Like, you have a special bond there and you get kind of oversee some things. And so for me right now, Bungie only means Destiny. And it's like, well, that's one game that I really enjoy, but it's also not awesome. It's not perfect. So, and I've mentioned a few developers who it's like, yeah, okay, they've had one game and I don't know yet, but I just like where their trajectory is.
That just actually made me think. The Behemoth as well.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a huge fan of, and
That's
everything
true.
that they do, I want to be a part of. So, and it has been a little while. So I guess I didn't play the most recent one, which was that turn-based one. What was it called?
Pit People.
Pit People. Thank you. I didn't get to play Pit People. I should because I love.
It was pretty fun. I mean, it
Yeah.
was kind of simple, but it was fun.
I loved everything they've done so far, so I should go back and play that. But that would be one that I would definitely follow.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on. We got another question here from Kronos or Expovos, depends on how you want to pronounce that. But he says, "Hey, all right, this is a little bit long, and so maybe it's not good, but it maybe get some discussion going. It's definitely too long to send in your normal messages. So this is a private message to me on TA." He says, I was recently playing Deathspank, Thongs of Virtue, which had this missable achievement for acquiring the services of a woman of the night in 20 different ways. Spoiler alert, it's missable because you kill her, I'm pretty sure, to steal her heart of gold. So, all in all, basic heroic good deeds stuff. So as I'm cycling through the 20 different instances of prostitution, my wife happens to be in the room right behind me, and she realizes what I'm doing. Thankfully, all I have to say is, well, you have to do this for an achievement. Yeah. And I realized what I was doing is pretty awful. So, question. What is the worst thing you've done in a game for an achievement? He says the worst one for him is the one called Too Far from South Park: The Stick of Truth. And the flavor, I actually don't have this one, but the flavor text kind of says it all. You farted on the corpse of an aborted Nazi zombie fetus. Sorry, that was a secret achievement. I hope I didn't ruin it for anybody. The second worst is Henry VIII. He says, you're Henry VIII you are? Well, of course you're not, but good try nonetheless. Pretty sure, isn't that for getting married and then killing your wife? I don't remember that. I have it in Fable 3, but I don't remember it. He says, and then I'd rate this prostitution one as probably my third worst. Maybe I'm missing something. Perhaps there are more, and I've just buried them in my mind from shame. Do you guys, what is the worst thing in-game that you've done for an achievement that you're like, ooh, gosh, yeah, that was...
Well, I haven't done it yet, but I do have a favorite achievement on a game that I want to play soon.
Yeah, what's that?
It's called, here, let me look it up. Proulx, you can go while I look it up.
So it's interesting that he picked that achievement from
South Park?
South Park, because I've been playing through The Fractured But Whole, and there's an achievement in Stick of Truth for watching your parents...
Yeah. Try to make a baby.
Yeah, for I think it was 30 seconds or a minute or something like that. And that's actually that actually plays an important part of your backstory in Fractured But Whole. That would have been my first Stick of Truth. Of course, the one he picked is the go-to one for Stick of Truth, but Star Trek. I was going to say that's South Park being South Park.
Yeah.
And the thing that popped out in my mind with this question was, I actually don't even know if it's achievement related. I'm sure that you get an achievement for this mission, but the torture mission in GTA 5 made me really uncomfortable. I did not like doing that.
Right.
That would probably be what sticks out in my mind as the quote unquote achievement. I'm sure there was one for that mission that made me the most uncomfortable. I did not like doing it. It felt like I shouldn't be doing this. I didn't like it at all. So that's what comes to my mind.
Yeah, I haven't played it, and so I'm curious. Our listeners may come up with things in Spec Ops: The Line that could follow that. But to bring it back to something I actually have played is because you had mentioned torture scene. That's for me, like, that's too much. And there's that let's call it enhanced interrogation scene in Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't think there's not anything directly you have to do for an achievement, but it's part of the campaign. It's part of the story. And it's like, you got to hit the X button to really, like, start, getting glass on it. And it was just, come on, don't make me do this, guys. Can we just bypass this? I don't really want to, inflict this.
Like the terrorist scene in Modern Warfare.
Oh, yeah. The airport scene, right?
But at least that was skippable. And
it was skippable.
And there was no achievement, right? Oh, there was an achievement for not doing anything, wasn't there?
I'm pretty sure there were no achievements related to that because, like, the whole point was it wasn't required in any way. It was just totally extra.
Yeah, just part of the story. So that's why that came to mind. But I was like, well, no, you can actually skip that if you really had a problem with it. But the one in Black Ops, you couldn't. I mean, that was too. You were stuck there. Like, press X to pay respects. Like, that was press X to drive glass into this dude's right. Like, so I did not care. I did not care for that. That was that made me uneasy on the inside. I'm a big, so I watched, and I did it with the sound off, and it was just the clip show on IGN. Like, they did a recapping you on all the events of the movie Saw. And, I absolutely hate scary movies, and I hate gore. Like, just, that is so far afield from me. But to think of somebody who comes up with these just absolutely twisted, killing machines or torture mechanisms and things, I have this weird, fascination with it of, how did somebody come up with this? And I don't want to see it, but I want to know how it works. And so, the new promos for that, where you got, those buckethead people in chains and they're pulling them to a saw blade wall. And it's I'll see that clip and I will just get sick to my stomach thinking of how awful that is. And I know it's all fake and crap like that. But so anyway, I watched a montage of all of these things, and I saw the mouth apparatus and the water tank head and it's all that crap, and it's this makes me physically ill to watch this. So games that have torture in them, yuck, not for me, thanks.
Yeah, I love those kind of movies. I'm not bothered by any of that. Really? Not at all. Yeah.
I can't do it.
I didn't skip the Modern Warfare 2 scene either. But the specific achievement that comes to mind, I love this achievement for many reasons. But it's in all of the Hunter's Trophy series, which is a series by one of my favorites, but it's published by Big Ben. And the achievement is called Bad Master. It's for having killed a dog.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned this before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think this was an achievement of the week.
You kill your dog and get an achievement in a hunting game. There's also in one of them, there's Very Bad Master for having killed 10 dogs. So
yeah.
If you're a very bad master, you get an extra 5 points.
I think that's another one that I don't see, I don't like animals dying in movies and stuff. That bothers me too. People couldn't care less. They could die all the time. But if you have
How do you like zombie stuff and are bothered by gore?
Well, so I got Shaun of the Dead going on in the background right now, and it's gore when it's done in zombie movies is typically over the top, and I just watched. There's because they have this zombie marathon going on the movie channel or something, and it was called Zombie Honeymoon, and it was just dumb, but. The husband is attacking people, and it gets this one woman, and he takes his fingers and he's driving his fingers into her neck and pulling out her vocal cords and all that stuff, and pulling her guts out of her neck. And I look at that, and that type of gore is just silly and over the top, and so that typically doesn't bother me that much. But if it's real gratuitous or I don't know. I think maybe when it's mindless killing machines like zombies, I am less disturbed by that, because it's they're brainless, so they don't know what they're doing. They're just attacking out of, basal need. But Jigsaw, who is, a person who's thinking about this and is deriving pleasure from torturing people, that strikes a different nerve, and that just, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
So just real quick, Fream.
Yeah.
A little off topic here, but you're a fan of Shaun of the Dead?
Oh, yeah.
So did you hear about just recently this past week when it came out that they were Simon Pegg, by the way,
yep, was in
a Star Trek movie. In fact, wrote one of the Star Trek movies, as well as Edgar Wright. They were talking about their quote unquote. Yeah, it's kind of it's not a real sequel, but what they kind of thought they would want to make as a sequel.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this? It's From Dusk Till Dawn, which would be a vampire sequel to Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, I have not heard of that. That would be awesome.
He's, they basically said it was a joke of an idea, but that they would have loved to kind of made that if they could. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But
Right. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead is fantastic. It's just great. And like, you know what I saw clips for, and somebody mentioned it on, oh crap, it was a meme, for whatever reason, and they showed the fight scene in Hot Fuzz at the beginning of Hot Fuzz when he goes to that town or whatever, and like just things get absolutely out of control. And I was like, exactly that. Like, it's just so over the top and funny and just, yeah, smart. Anyway, yeah, Simon Pegg's great. We should move on. We've got a couple questions left, and it is getting late. Crunchflake asks, imagine you could pick any video game ability of any character that you want that you want for only you to have in real life. What would you choose? A couple of options he mentions: triple jump of Mario, a teleport ability, maybe speed running like Sonic the Hedgehog, or super strength like the Hulk or whatever. Jedi Force, anything resonate with you guys? What?
I'm gonna push my nerd glasses up right now and say that Jedi Force would not be a video game superpower. I mean, it is a superpower featured in video games, but that's a movie superpower. I think we should pick abilities that originate in video games.
Okay. So what do you got? I always wanted, like, when I was a kid and I played, Final Fantasy 2, the U.S. version of 2, right, which was 4 Japanese. Anyway, and you had Tella, the old wizard guy. And, like, I had always just considered, like, yeah, man, if I ever had abilities, I would want this vast collection of magic spells like Tella the wizard. And so I could just stand there and be like, fireballs, lightning, ice, I could do whatever I wanted. Pew, 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 pew. Like, that would be the key. Now, I think that originates in video games. As far as your rules of the question go, but does it? What do you think? Can I have magic abilities like in Final Fantasy?
Sure, yeah. I was just specifically saying Jedi powers.
Right.
I think a cheat. That's all. That was my only point.
Perfect. So I'm going to do that. I want the ability to use magic, because I feel. There's telekinetic powers. There's lightning bolts, fire. I mean, imagine just being able to like cook food without having to go anywhere. You could just cook it in your hands, or gosh, my soda got pretty warm. I'm just gonna ice it out. Bam! You can make some ice cubes, put them in there. You can do stuff with lightning. I don't know. There'd be a lot of uses for a general wizard class. But you, Randy, you got something?
I'd have to go with, as much as I hate to say it, the playa from Saints Row 4, because you can fly, you can jump the height of a skyscraper, and
sure,
not die ever.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's pretty versatile superpower set.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Proulx?
So I would pick the power. It's not. I won't even say. I would say that from a lot of emulation games at this point, the rewind ability to be like, you know what, I could walk into this room and say this thing, and then people will react in this way. If it's not exactly what I want them to say, I can rewind 30 seconds and be like, nope, you know what, I want you to respond this way. I think that would be a super useful ability to, hey, you could get whatever job you wanted. You could win the lottery. There's a zillion different things you could do with it. I just want to be able to go in, try whatever crazy off the wall kind of thing I want to do, and then just rewind and retry again if it doesn't work.
Yeah, I could see that.
How long do you get to rewind?
Well, it's arbitrary. Let's say.
That's a big difference. Can
let's
you
say
rewind indefinitely? Can you go?
Let's say a day, like a
5 minutes.
Is it D4? Is that what it's called? Where you played the same day over and over again? What was the name of that game?
Yeah, D4 had that mechanic.
Yeah. So you can,
I guess there's like Majora's Mask too. where
Majora's
you just,
Mask,
like,
which
reset
was
the
in
world.
3 days. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. That sort
Okay.
of mechanic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's pretty cool. Finally, final question, and this comes from Skeptical Mario. He says, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon and Saints Row Get Outta Hell are examples of standalone reskins of existing games. Is this a good thing? Assuming that they're done and priced appropriately? And what other games could get this treatment? And I want to throw on there that another game that's fitting this, and maybe it's, we can talk about it, the validity of it. Metal Gear Survive, that new Metal Gear, is essentially a reskinned Phantom Pain, right? They just literally took all the assets from that and threw zombies in there, and just trying to capitalize on all the work that Kojima had done to get Phantom Pain together. So, are these good? Do we like these? Is this something that... Because I tend to think that they are, because if you can use the assets and stuff you've spent so much time building, and in lieu of a proper sequel, because and we're seeing kind of a lot more of this, where, for instance, the Dishonored, right, the Death of the Outsider is kind of it's a smaller, and they just add a different protagonist, maybe a couple varieties to the gameplay, but all in all, it's kind of the same game, just a different part of the story here. Like, that is significantly less to develop than a full game from scratch, and so maybe that's is a way to get away from the microtransaction model and make more of kind of a macro transaction. It's not DLC per se, which are less expensive, but maybe a larger game then that has more content, but you can capitalize on some of the work you've already done. Anyway, I tend to think they're a good thing. What do you guys think? Randy?
I think if the quality is there, yes. I think these are two very good examples, because although I haven't played Blood Dragon, it was very, very well received.
It's fun.
Versus Get Out of Hell, which was an absolute disaster and shouldn't exist. But I would much rather take that over DLC for a game, because you can have these kind of standalone stories that often DLC is just like anyway.
Yeah. That
just piggybacks off of the assets from the base game, and then you still need to have the base game. Where you have this, and somebody can come along and say, hey, this spin-off looks interesting. Maybe I'll give it a try. And you can just buy that little piece. You don't have to have the base game to play it. And, maybe liking maybe I want to play the base game that this is built on. Now, when you go to things like Far Cry Primal and Far Cry 4 that use the same map and just reskinned it.
Not a fan of that.
But again, the price. That's fine if you go from a $60 game to a $10 or $20 game. This is another like AAA release. I don't think it had DLC, but still, like $60, you're just recycling the game basically.
Right.
Was Primal $60 when it first came out?
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
I was going to use that as a good example, but I will not.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a good example of efficient use of the assets in the world, but not a good example of pricing. So I think that's really key, is you've got to price it right.
Yeah.
But as long as that's the case, I think it's much better than DLC. I have no problem with it if it's done well.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Do you have any, Proulx? Do you have any comments on whether you like this or not?
Yeah, I agree. Well, I agree with Randy pretty much wholeheartedly at this point, because if we're talking about Get Out of Hell, that it shouldn't exist, then you're not going to find a stronger proponent of that than I am. But I think I haven't played Blood Dragon. From what I understand, that was a positive experience overall. I kind of felt I felt like Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon was equivalent to Far Cry 4 Primal, but clearly it's not the case. Blood Dragon was more reasonably priced, it seems. So I think that's... I agree that would be better. I think that this sort of model is a good thing. Could be a good thing, I should say. Obviously, you could take it too far. But if something like, say, Skyrim or Grand Theft Auto had a $20 add-on that wasn't just DLC, but also a larger experience, kind of its own sort of game in that world or in a reskinned version of that world, I would be absolutely on board with that. I think it could be a good thing overall, as long as it wasn't taken to extremes.
Yeah. You know, it's weird because, like, if you kind of start thinking about, Far Cry 3, for example, right? So Far Cry 3 and then Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, like, yes, they use nearly identical games and then they just reskin it for whatever, but it's kind of just really a generic Ubisoft first-person shooter. Like, it doesn't even have to be Far Cry per se. It could be Call of Duty. It could be, you could argue all of these are reskins of, unless the game offers something really, really unique, a really unique gameplay mechanic, every game is kind of a copy of every other. You're just trying to innovate a little bit more on it. I'm trying to go through this list of things like, what is there anything here that even warrants, kind of a new skin on top of it? Like, what kind of gameplay mechanics are just so good that you want them to be used in something else? Like I love the tight platforming of Rayman and Ori and the Blind Forest, but like that could just be any generic platformer. Like it doesn't even have to be a reskin. Just give me tight controls on a good platformer. Like that's all I want. So, that's not really a great example. What about a game like Gone Home where you just turn it into a horror game, but like not like a cheap jump scare horror, but like actually like a horror where you build the tension and you do, but I bet Tarragon will argue, well, that's a jump scare horror, but you just argue layers of fear. Then there's plenty of first person horror games, but it's like that kind of, that game provided some real eerie tension that was, it was unnerving, even though I knew nothing could happen to me. Maybe that's the key, is you just trick people into saying, no, you're gonna be fine. No scares in this game at all. And then there is one, and you're like, you bastard. Anyway, that's kind of a departure there. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for our show. Do you guys have any games that, I guess I didn't kick it over to you quite yet. Any reskins that you're looking for? We talked about whether we liked them or not, but any reskins that just we're waiting for?
I don't have anything that really comes to mind for those type of spin-off games, but I think, just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, is I think you don't necessarily, it's not the IP that matters, it's the framework for the game. So like you said, you have Rayman or Ori that has really solid platforming mechanics. It doesn't necessarily have to be Ori or Rayman. You can put any other thing in there.
Yeah.
But as long as you're using that same control scheme, that same engine, that same, kind of level building, you could make that spin-off game. All your framework is there. You just make a new level pack.
Yeah.
And some new sprites for your characters, and then you kind of have that as your little spin-off. I think that's kind of more the thing than having they often always do basically have a name attached, like Far Cry or Saints Row or whatever. Right. But I think that's kind of the key value there, is that you made this bigger game that has these good mechanics. So you don't have to innovate on them to make these spin-offs. It's just kind of, it gives you an easy avenue to make a little bit more content and then potentially expose a new audience to it.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I'm just kind of going through my list of reskins that I'm playing, and I've got Zombie Army Trilogy. That's a reskin of Sniper Elite. We've got Nicktoons MLB. There's a reskin of MLB The Show, MLB The Live, MLB Live, I don't know, whatever it was. That was a reskin there. What about what if they made a Diablo 3? Just reskin that. turned it into I don't know, space, future, something. I don't know.
Yes, please. I would love that.
That'd be kind of fun.
Love that. Yeah.
Right?
Diablo 3, Star Trek.
World of StarCraft.
There you go. I forgot to add on my list of awesome developers, Double Fine. I like Double Fine a lot. I think they have some really clever games, mechanics, very kid friendly, so I can play them with my kids and not worry about it being inappropriate. And they're just fun games. Anyway, all right, we're done. That'll be it. We've got it. We have a full show, chock full of everything. We'd be remiss not to add any of the knobs and discos. Randy, why don't you take us away on anything that you want to talk about for knobs and discos, our home for unobtainable and discontinued achievements?
It's another bad week.
Is it just full of them?
Oh, it's brutal.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I think we actually have more than last week.
Oh my God! Last week was long.
Yeah, I've just been accumulating these notifications all week, and it's crazy. We had a big wave of EA server closures, and we do have a note. This isn't a new knob or disco, but what's that upcoming game with gold?
Deadfall Adventures.
Yes, has an unobtainable achievement.
Yeah, so our new games with gold is coming with an unobtainable.
Yep.
Gross.
So we'll start on the list here. Start off with Victor Vran. The Live to Win achievement is unobtainable. FIFA 14, all of the multiplayer achievements are now discontinued. NBC, the app, all of the achievements are now discontinued. FIFA 14 for Xbox One, all the online is now discontinued. Infinite Mini Golf, the Shipwright achievement is unobtainable. Madden NFL 12, all the online is, or at least the MUT achievements are all discontinued. Let me just check. Yeah, everything online is discontinued. Madden 12. Madden NFL 13, all of the multiplayer is discontinued.
Goodness.
Grand Slam Tennis 2, all multiplayer is discontinued. Burnout Revenge, we mentioned that last week, now officially discontinued. FIFA 13, multiplayer is discontinued. NCAA Football 12, the Check This Out achievement is discontinued. I assume that's probably the only online achievement. Same thing in NCAA Football 13. NHL 12, all the multiplayer is discontinued. NHL 13, all the multiplayer is discontinued. Tiger Woods PGA Tour 12, the Masters flag. Hold My Bags, I Post My Clip, and the GamerNet Tourist discontinued. Tiger Woods PGA Tour 13, all the multiplayer is discontinued. Skate 2 has been flaky, is now officially discontinued. And that is... Oh, a couple more.
Jeez,
Madden
Louise.
NFL 13, the belting achievement is discontinued. And Madden NFL 16, Xbox 360, all the multiplayer is discontinued. So that is quite a list this week.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So mostly a big wave of EA shutdowns.
Yeah.
But still, that's got to be like the worst week ever for discontinued achievements.
I bet, man. Yeah.
That's brutal.
You were busy. A lot of flagging.
Oh, yes.
Goodness gracious. Cool. Well, I mentioned on previous shows how excited I was for the zombie frappuccino. Well, I got one today. I went out. I made sure to get it. There's a picture. It's in the show notes. You can see what it looks like in my hand. I didn't take like a selfie of me drinking it or anything. So let me give you a review of the zombie frappuccino. It tastes like caramel apple, like those caramel apple lollipops, with a touch of coffee taste in there. It was fine.
Just a touch.
It actually was just a touch, like because the apple flavoring really overpowered it.
So it basically wasn't really a coffee. It was just...
Yeah, like you could I couldn't tell if yes, there was supposed to be coffee in it, or it was residual from whatever they used to make something previous. like it just got some coffee flavor in it by accident, or it was intentional. That's how subtle it was. So they didn't. You really want to blend the ice out a ton. So I still got some chunks of ice, which were kind of annoying. Flavor was good. Whipped cream was good. It's all bloody pink whipped cream.
It's brains. It's
brains.
Not whipped cream.
Sorry, brains. All in all, not worth the calories. It wouldn't have been anyway. But would I ever get one again? Probably not. But I'm happy I jumped into the. It was a fun novelty thing, and I had a gift card, so not big, right? Didn't cost me anything, and it was all right. It was all right. And I think that's going to do it for the show, guys. That pretty much wraps it up. Thanks again for listening, everybody. We appreciate you taking the time. This is start of the new month, so I promise, I assure you, there will be a contest roundup.
Yes, I will remember it this week.
I did technically record one last week, but it got skipped, which is fine. It was really short, and it just touched on a couple of things. So we'll do a 2-week recap of the UHH and a little bit of GTA SC, as well as mention what the new contests are coming up for November. Of course, you will have already seen them in the forums. So if you are still curious about what they happen to be, forum.zzz.com. You can go and take a look for yourself. I want to thank everybody, since it is the new month, all of our patrons out there who supported us in the month of October and all the months in front of that, and who will continue to support us. We honestly could not do this show without you. It's a lot to ask for, and we value and appreciate every single one of you. There's some great ideas about things we can do to reward our patrons, and aside from getting them on the show, doing some other things, contests, or inside baseball type stuff that we can do. We want to show our appreciation for you as best we can. So keep the ideas coming, and we'll do our best to get them to work. We are super close to getting to our retail game goal of being able to give out copies of video games. So, if you know anybody or if you listen to the show and could spare $1, $3, whatever, please, man, that would help out a ton. Like I said, we're super close to our goal. But we're self-sustainable right now. So everybody we'd love to keep you, and we hope we can incentivize you to stick with us. So thank you again. Now, if that's too much to ask, you can always help us out by giving us a review or a rating over at iTunes. It's probably the best, but you could do it with your own personal podcast listening app. And then you can reach us in a ton of different ways. Twitter is one of the best, at ZZZEDTOZED, or email us directly, contact@zzz.com. And then we also have personal Twitter. So, Proulx, where can people reach you from that standpoint?
On Twitter, you can find me at OneUpDan. That's the number 1 and not the word.
Wonderful. And Randy?
I am at Randy2727 on Twitter and Crandy on True
Wonderful. And I am Freamhole. That's at Freamhole, FREAMWHOLE. You can find me on my Discord channel, discord.me/Freamhole, as well as our forums and whatnot. And that's my gamer tag. And yeah, that's where you want to be. That's who you want to follow and find out everything that's going on in the community and in the world of Xbox. So thanks again so much for everybody for listening, and thanks to everyone that made this show possible. So on behalf of Randy, Proulx, Damian, Warren, I've been Brandon, and to all of your achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next episode. Hey, everybody, if you're hearing this, that means Randy remembered to add it to the end of the show, so that's good news. We did record a community roundup last week, but Randy forgot to add it. It's all right. It wasn't much. It was very important. I'll just quickly recap it here, and we'll start with the GTA SC. It is, of course, the Great True Achievement Score Challenge. We are currently in period 43, but I do want to make a mention of period 41. We had an individual go down. Oriole 2682 bites the bullet. So all we have left now is redemption denied from the individual standpoint. And from our teams that we're following in the Z2Z community, Big Willie 4.0, which is Miserly Pluto's team. So we are getting down to the nitty gritty there. We also had a couple rounds of UHH, the Ultimate Head-to-Head Challenge, number 3. Round 2, we had a couple of matchups in the proper tournament, right? The actual elimination part of the bracket. We had 128 competitors from the community. We had Mark B goes down. And What the Fug goes down to an alt, nonetheless, which is a huge bummer. As far as the head-to-head matchups we were following, Skeptical Mario versus Buffalo of Lies, that went down to the last minute. But Buffalo of Lies squeaks out a win, 11-10. Skeptical was, burning some of his preloads. It was fun to watch in the Discord, even though he stayed up way too late doing it. So I hope you can catch up on your sleep and rebound from that. We also had Keith 27-11-79 losing to Wellington Balbo 2-8, or 8-2 would be the winner. Wellington Balbo. Sorry, Big L. We did have two people move on. Chin Doctor and B. Smittle are both successful in their endeavors, and they move on to round 3, the final 64. Chin Doctor faces Eridor, and B. Smittle faces Snake Fan Solid 1. And then we also, there's another, a matchup that I had noticed of gamer tags that I've seen in the forums and or were on my GTASC team, Bagilda Ray versus Iron Fist of Snuff. So those are 3 elimination rounds that we're looking at in the final 64 here. So that's it's getting real tight. We also have some just for fun matchups. Redemption Denied beats Buck Marley 1-0. NBA Kirkland beats Stushnikin 10-7, and Angel SK wipes the floor with me, Fream Hole, 12-2. As far as matchups this week for Just for Fun, we have 3 inter-community matchups. We have Marky B. Hoy 89 versus the Tominator. The Tominator. I said it right this time. The Tominator, 177. We've got What the Fug versus Keith, 27-11-79, and Saucy Slingo back from vacation facing ZZ Urban Spaceman. So that is the UHH roundup. It is the start of a brand new month. So that means random to-do lists are refreshed. We have our November lists up. We just passed the halfway point for this mini 4-month campaign here. So get cracking on your November lists. I know it's been real tough with the UHH going on. We got a lot of people who have not earned an achievement or did not earn an achievement in October. Hey, if you get booted out, you are free to join again. So just don't forget to hop over to our forums, forum.z2z.com, and just ask for a list. They're free. They're fun. There's nothing special you have to do to get a part of that. And there's a chance for prizes. So probably next show, maybe 2 shows from now, the 100th episode maybe, we'll do prizes for October. One of those challenges that we're going to have to go through, the community challenge for October, is first-person shooters, or was first-person shooters, and that has wrapped up. So if you earned any achievements in the month of October in a game that is a first-person shooter, mind you, a shooter, not necessarily a first-person game, like I played some Gone Home, but that doesn't count. I don't think you ever shoot anything in that game. Then put it down in the forums. Let us know, and we'll tally those up. Every achievement earns you an entry into the pool for a random draw for a prize. November, the community challenge is called X Gonna Give It To Ya, in commemoration of the Xbox One X being launched. This one's pretty simple. You just need to earn any achievement in a game that contains the letter X. So, for instance, X-Men, the official game, or Final Fantasy 15, right? XV, that counts. Pixel piracy, there's an X in the middle there. Plenty of examples. The game itself should have an X, and the any achievements earned in that game will get you entry into the pool. Yeah, we should probably do something if you complete one of those games too, but check the forums for all the details, forum.z2z.com. We also have the Gamertag Challenge. Last month in October, Mighty Mango was the Gamertag. So if you think you qualified, then, and remember, there are substitution rules. So if you didn't have an I or an O or a Y, you can skip those and still get yourself an entry into the pool. Those are semi-common, so you can still get one entry into the pool. If you do get all of them, you can get up to 10 entries for your chance to win a gift card. So just submit into the forums. There's a little submission tab at the very top of the original post, and it says you can see your progress here. You click it and type in your gamer tag, and Tarragon will do a search for that gamer tag and let us know if you qualify. Super simple. Could not be any easier, except if it was automated. As far as November, we have 2 gamer tags coming up for November. We are celebrating Chin Docta and Montana 97, both of which are 9 characters. So you got to earn those. There's some crossover there, so that should be, earn a different achievement there. So, for instance, Chin Docta has an N, Montana also has an N. You can, let's say you're playing Neverwinter. You can earn one achievement in Neverwinter, and that goes to Chin Docta, and then a different achievement will go to Montana 97. So make sure that you double up on those and get multiple achievements. October for the Mokas, M. Surin's overly convoluted achievement spectacular, was incredibly convoluted, called Back and Forth, where you tell him what your first achievement is, and he will increment your score, alternating pluses and minuses to get your convoluted score. So your first achievement is a positive convoluted score, your second achievement is a -1, and then plus, and then minus, and then plus, and I believe it's the highest possible score is the winner. So just post in the forums there and let him know. As far as November, you'll have to check back to the forums and see what he posts. By the time this show is out, it will have been announced and in play. So make sure you go take a look at that. Finally, we have our Discord boosting rooms. So if you haven't been to our Discord page, Fream Hole, my personal Discord page, you can get there. This link is always active. It is discord.me/Freamhole. You just show up and you can find all sorts of channels. There's lots of game channels. There's also, plenty of normal chat, all sorts of fun stuff like that. But those game channels, if you're interested in gaming with us as a community, we're in the midst of Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. We have a 360 version that I'm leading up and a 1 version that Big L is heading up. We meet on Thursday nights, so that's about 9 p.m. Eastern. The 360 version starts at 10 p.m. Central. I know, time zones, right? They suck. But we just play for a couple hours, 2-3 hours on Thursday nights, and work toward getting those achievements. So if you need some help, you just want to play the game and have some fun with people in the community, that is a great place to do it. There's also some Halo boosting going on Tuesdays. I believe they are working on Master Chief Collection right now, or at least moving toward that. So if you have any interest in getting Halo achievements in Master Chief, Tuesday nights is where you want to be. And then we have Battleborn on Wednesday nights. So if you want to chip away at that monstrosity, it is going to be a long, long grind for that one. So get on board, get in there, and come play with us. It'll be great. Finally, I want to mention our Rocket League tournament is starting soon. Actually, our first game will be crazy late on Friday night at 12:30, but we will be recorded for posterity. The plan is to stream it, multiple people streaming it, so you can take a look and watch the recap of my team versus Proulx's team. So it'd be Skeptical, Fufu, and myself going to take down Proulx and his cronies. It'll be great. That'll be round 1, and then, based on the winner of that, we've got 3 other matches that have yet to be determined, so just keep an eye on the tournament. It'll be great, and if you're interested in being a part of the next tournament, you got to let us know, because I'm sure we'll want to do this again, because Rocket League is an amazing game, and it's super fun. Finally, I want to announce, because this is the upcoming weekend for Extra Life, so if you're listening to this before Saturday, then Saturday is the official Extra Life day. I mentioned it in the main show. I'm going to mention it here because we have plenty of community members who contribute, who donate, who want to take part, do 24-hour streams, or even just pieces of streams, but they're active in the community. They're active in the Extra Life charity organization. And it'd be great if you guys can support them. If you can't, that's great too. But every bit goes toward the Gillette Children's Hospital's Miracle Network, and so it's just a wonderful, wonderful cause. Get on board, or at least watch some of the streams. Help promote, help spread the word for those. So if you're interested, we have an Extra Life channel on my Discord chat, and you can click on that and see any of the individuals. Anyone who has posted anything, I have pinned it. So at the top of the page, you just hit the pin button, and you'll see any of the individuals who are hosting a stream that weekend. So you swing by, check them out. It'll be great. I think that'll about do it for the community roundup here. If there's anything, reach out to me. Let me know if there's anything I missed, anything you want me to touch on. If you guys have anything that you're doing, charitable, or you have a boosting group that you want to get started, let me know. I would love to get things coordinated for you, and we can get this party going. Other than that, that'd be the end. Episode 98, guys, and we'll catch you next week. Have a good one.